listening to the best of Punk Rock Foodies Radio 2016, Part 3.
Just whispers. We had a shot glass.
And that was Elway with Whispers in a Shot Glass, and you are listening to Punk Rock Foodies Radio. And on the phone with us now is frontman for a Direct Hit, Mr. Nick Woods. Nick, how you doing?
Woo! I'm good. How's it going with you, dude?
We're good. So there's a lot of people probably don't know Direct Hit. I mean, you're not that new of a band, but you've been I guess I would say a smaller name band. But now that you are newly signed with Fat Records, I'm sure the name will get out there a lot more. But could you give us a little rundown of like the history of the band, how it started, and whatnot?
Sure. I was playing in an old band back in college. And I had a bunch of songs written that they didn't really want to play. So I coached our drummer from that group and got my friend Jackson, also known as Officer Bradford from Massachusetts, as a matter of fact, to play bass for me and to play those songs that I had written that kind of didn't work out with my old band. So it kind of just went from there, man. It's always just been me, basically, up until a few years ago, just kind of with whoever would play with me at the time and whoever could put up with me in my dumb songs. But Danny joined in 2009 after, I think, drummer number 3 that we had gone through. Steve joined the band in 2013 after tons and tons of bass players. And Devin joined the band, I would say, 2009, I think, 2010, somewhere in there. So the lineup that we've had ever since Steve joined has remained pretty consistent. So we've basically been the same band for about 3 years now, coming up on 3 years. The band Direct Hit has existed since about 2007. But the lineup that everybody kind of knows and who's put it on all of our good recordings, I feel like, and stuff like that, we've been together for about 3 years. So I don't know what else you want to learn beyond that, but that's kind of what we do. So.
Well, and then you guys you would put out like 7 inches or little like singles, like repeated.
Yeah. When we started, we were just putting EPs up on the internet. I never really started the band with the hope that it was going to turn into kind of what it has now at this point. With relative to a lot of other bands, it's not all that huge or ridiculous. But I guess in terms of like when I planned for it or something like that, it's definitely kind of gotten a little bit out of hand. But yeah, we used to record 4 songs EPs and put them up on the internet and just number them. And eventually we kind of took, sorry, there's a phone right in the background, it's distracting me. But eventually what we did was we just kind of took all the best songs from all those EPs and made them into our first LP, which we put out in 2010, 2011. And then once that was done, we kind of really didn't know what to do with ourselves. And so before that, we put out a couple of 7 inches with our friends, and we kept doing that. Eventually, we did the whole Brainless God thing, which came out a couple of years after that. So that's kind of where it's gone from there. We used to say that we release music like comic books. We don't really do that anymore. So.
Right. So you've been touring, or you have toured. What are some of the places or other bands that you've toured with?
Oh, man. We've been to Europe 3 or 4 times now to tour over there. We've been to the UK the same number of times. I mean, I think we've hit almost every state in the U.S. at this point in some way or another. We haven't done like far northeast yet, like Maine or Vermont or New Hampshire. But we played in Wyoming. We played. If you name the state, we probably played there. So we did a really good tour back in 2013 that lasted 5 or 6 weeks. We did a month in Europe right after that. So, I mean, you name the place, we've been there. We still have to hit up Japan and South America and Hawaii and Alaska and kind of those far-flung regions of the world. But that's kind of what we're hoping to be able to do now that we have this bad thing going on. So that's pretty much the biggest reason why it is that we still keep doing what we're doing. Is it just gives us a way to see the world and meet new people and have fun, party in different places, and not have to clean up the mess after we're done.
So you did just recently sign with Fat Records. What was that like? Like, is it like you're talking with Fat Mike and he says, "Hey, we want to do your next album"? You get over a couple of beers, you say okay, or like, is there more to it?
We took the most sellout route possible. We have a manager who fucking worked it out for us. Our manager Ben, who's a good friend of mine, used to manage Screeching Weasel before all of that nonsense kind of went down and South by Southwest a few years ago. And so he knew everybody over at Fat. I guess that they'd known about us for a while and had been listening to our music, and that's pretty much the way that it went. So, and our new record and stuff. I like to think that's a big reason why it is that they got into the new stuff. But yeah, I mean, I've talked to everybody over there a few times so far, but definitely looking forward to getting to know them a little bit better. There hasn't been a whole lot of partying or anything like that yet. So.
Well, and you guys are going to be touring with NoFX on the Hepatitis Bathtub tour coming up here.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, in April.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're psyched about that. It'll be fun.
So, while in your travels with the band, is there any place that you would consider that had some of the best food that you would love to go back to get more of?
Oh, man. You know, my favorite food whenever we're on tour that I don't get to eat a lot when I'm at home is Turkish doner, especially in Germany. It's really good up in the UK too, but you know, I've read about that, and I mean, you can get it pretty much all over Europe. I don't know if you've been over to Europe or had it before. It's like Euros, except like way better. It's so good. Like my favorite late night food in the world. And so I mean, that's probably my favorite kind of thing that I can nab when I'm not at home. I mean, I live in the Midwest, so it's really tough getting really good fresh seafood around here too. So usually when I'm out on the coast, I'll hammer down oysters or steam pot or something like that. So, but definitely, I mean, in terms of something that I always eat a shitload of whenever I'm gone, Turkish doner is definitely the place to go. Yeah, I get it in Berlin. The best in Berlin. And I eat it like super American style with just meat and onion and tzatziki poured all over the top of it. And I get the chicken every time. Chicken, I think, is just so fucking good. It's so awesome. So, I've tried figuring out ways to open like a stand in Milwaukee or something like that, but I can't find like the right sources. And it weirds me out that you can get it over in Europe, but you can't get it over here. And so there has to be some reason why it is that people don't eat pork, and I can't figure out why that is. But if I had a choice, if I could open a food stand somewhere in the States, that's definitely what I would choose. So it's my favorite late night food for sure, and I can't get it at all when I'm here. It's a super bummer.
So when you are at home, do you do any cooking yourself?
Oh yeah, my wife and I cook often. I cooked gumbo a couple nights ago. I'd never done that before, which was cool. Lots of soups and stews. That's usually what I'm really into. Because I can do it with one pot, and that's too much mess. I grill out a lot too, but that's always a pain in the ass to grill out and stuff like that. So usually I do stuff like do gumbo. I do we make ramen from time to time too, like 12-hour ramen with everything layered in. I'm trying to think what else I do. I like chicken and dumplings a lot. I cook a lot of shit, man. I really like doing it, and I really like to eat. So that's usually the less expensive way to make really good food is just to do it by yourself and use fresh ingredients and stuff like that, and not have to go out and spend a ton of money at a restaurant or something.
Absolutely.
So,
And then you can tweak it how you like. Oh, I cook.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
What do you cook?
Anything. I grew up Italian. I mean, I'm still Italian, but I grew up in an Italian household.
Risotto? I've never been able to make decent risotto that doesn't taste like crust for it.
I've never made risotto. Never attempted it. Mainly because I think it's watching Gordon Ramsay yell at people for fucking up the risotto on Hell's Kitchen. So.
Yeah, no kidding. Yeah. If you want to talk about worst beer food, that would probably be up there for us. We had risotto when we were in Italy one time. That was just, it was like eating paste. It was so wild. Like, you know how you have like memories of like really good meals that you've gotten before, like just stuff that's kind of circumstantial that, like, even though it might not be like gourmet or something like that, just the circumstances were right that it was just incredible.
Yeah.
Well, it's like the exact opposite. we had risotto at this place in Italy, and it's like the worst food I've ever eaten in my whole life. So I've never had really super good risotto. So I'm always trying to find somebody who knows how to do it right or where to get it or something like that, so I can actually taste what all the hype's all about.
Right.
I've never had a chance. Yeah.
No. Well, next time you cook something, take a picture, post it on Punk Rock Foodies on Facebook. That'd be, we'd really love to see it.
For sure, man.
Yeah. So, you have songs ready to go for a new album, or that now that you've signed with Fat, or are you still just in the process?
They're all mixed and ready to go. They just have to get mastered. So.
Cool.
So just kind of sitting around waiting until we get all of our ducks in a row with touring and stuff like that this summer. So.
Excellent. Well, I look forward to the new album. I really enjoy the last one, the Brainless God album. It was really great. And that was that was on Red Scare?
Yep, that's right. We've done 4 records on Red Scare right now, or at this point. 2 7-inches. And then a single compilation that we did earlier this year, and called Brainless God. So 2 LPs and 2 EPs.
It seems like Red Scare is like the minor league team for Fat. It's like there's always bands coming out of Red Scare that then get signed to Fat Records. Is that?
That seems to be the way that people look at it a lot. I think Red Scare is a really good label on its own, though. So I don't like to look at it as like a beer label or something like that. But I mean, the copyright system was signed there, Red Scare for, I don't know how many years. That band's one of my favorite bands. They sign new groups all the time. They go off to do different stuff too. I mean, they had the Menzingers for a while, who ended up on Epitaph, Sidekicks too. So I think Red Scare holds its own. I don't think it's a matter of saying that it's like a minor league or something like that.
Right. No, I didn't want to.
They do a really good job.
Yeah, I didn't want to diminish what Red Scare does. It just seems that there's all these bands on Red Scare, and then they go and sign with Fat. It's just
Toby picks incredible bands to rep. I think that's the biggest reason why. So.
Yeah. All right. Well, if there's anything else you want to add, I mean, you got your tour coming up here. Direct Hit will be touring with No Effects here in April. So if you have a chance to go see them, go see them. Anything else that you'd like to add?
No, I'm good, man. Keep eating.
Okay, well, we're going to send it off here with a Direct Hit song off of Brainless God. This is Buried Alive on Punk Rock Foodies Radio.
He's got a carcass in the basement, and it's high time he found a replacement. It'll be just like a first date, but better.
Hey, this is Brian Reinhardt, and you're listening to Punk Rock Foodies for some reason, because it's the best of 2016. Yeah.
All right, that was Left Alone with Sad Story. You listen to Punk Rock Foodies Radio. That song is a song about my hometown of Wilmington. And today we have one of my homies who also grew up in Wilmington, Mr. Elvis Cortez. What's up, buddy?
How you doing, man?
Good, man. Good, man. Thanks for taking time to jump on our show, bro.
Yeah, no problem.
Cool, man. Yeah, I know. Well, let's get right to it. You've been super busy with Left Alone, man. How's the shows been going? How's the tours been going? And, what's been going on the road, man?
Stuff's been good. We just came off the tour with PSOL, the West Coast run, and then after that we started practicing for some recording stuff, and then we started doing the Rancid show that we just finished. And we got some other shows coming up, so it's been busy. It's good busy. It's always good when you get to play music, and that's what makes you busy.
Yeah, no doubt, man. Yeah, so you opened up for Rancid. How many shows did you do with them?
We did two. We did the Roxy, and then we did the Observatory.
Cool, man. Those were pretty fun, huh?
Yeah, man, they sold out. Like, I think the Roxy sold out in a couple minutes. The Observatory sold out, like, in a couple hours. And yeah, they're my favorite band, and I mean, getting the opportunity to play with them is always awesome and super fun. There's a lot of good people that we saw that I haven't seen in a bit. It's good times.
Cool, man. Cool. So you mentioned that you guys are going to be working on some new material here.
Yeah, we're actually working on a few things. We're trying to develop, and I haven't really released anything about this, but I guess you're getting the 411 before anyone does. We're working on recording a live record, like a bunch of songs of all the records, and then we're trying to do like an acoustic record of songs from all our previous records, and then we're going to record some other stuff that's just completely new music. And we're doing a split coming out pretty soon. I can't really say with who yet, but I mean, we got a lot of cool stuff coming out. And then I got a solo record that I'm trying to finish, but everything's pretty much green lighted, so it's a matter of just picking the right days and the right times to go in and record.
Cool, man. Cool. Yeah, dude, I see you on Facebook, and you're just like all over the place, man. It's just great because I know you're busy and you're doing what you love. So that's got to be a lot of fun for you, man. But
I'm lucky to get to do the music thing 24/7. You know, I still consider myself lucky.
Cool. Well, this is our Cinco de Mayo episode, so I definitely want to talk a little food with you, man. So let's say you've been on the road. Let's say you've been like in Europe or something. What's like the number one Mexican food you're gonna get after when you get back home?
You know, I eat kind of weird stuff, and by weird, I don't eat like typical. I'm kind of weird. I'll break it down like this. I don't eat meat.
Okay.
I don't like onions, tomatoes, cheese, mayonnaise, mustard. Mustard because my sister, when we were kids, she put the mustard bottle in here and squeezed it.
Oh, so you just like...
Yeah, I'm kind of confident of that. But I'm more like... I mean, I'll eat some fish, but, yeah, kind of weird. Like, I don't have a spot. I like to make seafood sometimes, like a shrimp cocktail or whatever. So find those good for a hangover, you know?
Absolutely, man, absolutely. So you do like to cook at home, though, huh?
Yeah, I don't really like to go out much to eat, unless we're on tour, and then it's kind of you have to. But, yeah, I do a lot of stuff at home, like, you know, just keep it basic, because if I go somewhere, it's going to be like, no this, no that, no that, no that, and I don't want to sound like that, you know, like, oh, it's just weird. But keep it really, really simple. I'm not vegan or anything like that, because everyone's like, well, you vegan?
Yeah.
That's a bad thing. I'm like, no, I just don't like the taste of a lot of stuff. Like, what's the problem?
Yeah, no,
you know?
That's no worries, dude. No. Some people are like that, man. It's crazy, but like I gotta imagine that on the road, that's got to be kind of difficult for you to kind of eat what you like normally eat.
Yeah, because my band's super like, those guys love, like, you know, they're like, oh, we're in Portland, we're gonna go over here, like, go to San Francisco, we gotta go to Fisherman's Wharf, which is cool. So they have their spots. But I'm pretty simple. Like, the thing is, like, I don't mind going anywhere. I'll just pick something and just, you know, kind of eat around what I like.
Yeah. So you never even... I was just thinking about it. You don't even eat pizza, huh?
I take the cheese off the pizza when I was like 5 years old. I don't like cheese because I don't like the way it tastes.
Yeah.
But the thing is, like, I'll cook with all that stuff. I don't mind cooking with it. Or, you know, friends come over, I'll make them ribs and all that stuff. I don't mind all that. It's just, personally, I don't think of it. Pizza's cool, like mushrooms, and I kind of like it. It's weird, right? I like it with mushrooms, pineapple, and jalapenos.
There's nothing wrong with that. That sounds good, man.
Yeah, you know.
Did you ever go to Red West when you were a kid?
Red West? Yeah, man.
Yeah.
Red West was a spot when I was growing up. Like, it's always really good. Like, sometimes it's kind of like the benchmark I'll compare it to. Like, if I'm like, oh, this one kind of tastes like Red West.
Yeah.
Red West spot right down PCH.
Yeah. I used to go there all the time when I was a kid, man. I haven't been there in a while, man. I gotta go back. I see some friends from Wilmington Post every once in a while that are there, and it's like, fuck, dude, I forgot how good that pizza is, man.
That pizza is dope.
Cool, man. Well, I'll just wrap it up here now. And you got anything you want to say to our fans out there? You want to tell them what you maybe be on the lookout for you coming to on tour or anything like that, or?
We're looking for stuff right now. It's funny, Cinco de Mayo is Left Alone's 20-year anniversary.
Really?
Which is funny. Yeah, our first real show, I like to call it, was May 6th, like 96. So it's a trip that it's been 20 years this May, and so that's when we're playing a bunch of stuff, cool releases, and just trying to keep busy. You know, I'm lucky to keep doing this and enjoying
Yeah,
playing music, so, you know.
And you got an album that just, like a CD that just came out with like rare and unreleased tracks, right?
Yeah, that rare and unreleased album, pretty much every time we recorded, we've always left a song or two off and then either use it on the rare 7-inch or just didn't use it at all.
Mm-hmm.
So after having like pretty much 29 songs, I was like, man, I'm just sitting on this stuff. And I know people hit me up about, like, oh, do you have any unreleased stuff, like, that's from the old sessions? And I'm like, I actually do. So I put it together and mastered it, and it came out really cool because I think it's from like 2000 to 2014. So it's like 14 years of just random songs, like just a few covers. It's cool because it's very different. You can listen to it from the beginning to end, and you can see the eras of the band change. And I put it in order from the first song recorded to like the newer one.
Okay, so it's chronological. Cool.
Yeah, it's chronological. So it works out pretty good. I like it. We got a good response so far. It comes out May 6th on the Friday. So yeah.
Perfect. Well, cool, man. Well, you want to send us off with one of your tracks?
Yeah. Let's go off with the Lonely Starts and Broken Heart.
Cool, man. That was Elvis Cortez from Left Alone. You listen to Punk Rock Foodies Radio.
Hey, this is the asshole in charge, and you're listening to the best of Punk Rock Foodies Radio 2016.
And that was Values Here by Strike Anywhere, and you're listening to Punk Rock Foodies Radio. And with us now is foodie member and chef Jeff Eng. Jeff, how you doing?
Good. Thanks for having me on.
Oh, absolutely. Thanks for joining us.
Yes.
So you are the executive chef of Clyde's in Rockville, Maryland.
Right, Tower Oaks Lodge, absolutely.
And there is another Clyde's.
There are many Clyde's.
Yeah,
yes. I believe there are now 14 stores in all, including the Old Ebbitt Grill and the Hamilton and a bunch of other places.
And being the executive chef, what does that mean? That means it's your menu, or you're just the guy in charge back there?
Yeah, well, you are the guy in charge, but it's nice with Clyde's. They add a lot of buying power, so you know that. So they take away a lot of the legwork, like figuring out food costs on certain items, things like that. But you have the freedom of having freedom with the menu. There's a couple core items that you have to have on there, being the Clyde's restaurant, the crab dip, the wings, the burger. But the rest of the menu, totally up to you, which is cool.
That's cool. And do you change the menu often?
We try and change seasonally, but if we got a dog that's not selling, we'll change it on the fly if we have to. Yeah.
What I was gonna say, what is your like specialty? I mean, the racist in me wants to say Asian, but the intelligent person in me knows this is an American style restaurant.
Absolutely,
but,
we like to call it modern American. I guess it kind of gives you free reign to do whatever you want. I'm classically French taught. I went to l'Académie de Cuisine way back in 93, 94. That's when they were still in Bethesda, but. So I like to take the classics and give them a spin, and sometimes with ingredients, sometimes not.
So, what prompted you to become a chef? Like, what were you growing up? Did you always want to be a chef, or did you get in trouble with the law?
Well, not the law. Well, a little bit, but not so much knowing what I wanted to do. I did, own a deli. I was working construction right after high school and doing a little bit of college. And I was working construction as a laborer, and it was hard work during the summer. And my foreman decided that, hey man, I'm out. I'm done with this. I'm going to open a deli. I'm like, hey, that sounds good. So he's like, all right, well, you got any money? Well, you can be an investor and be a part owner. So I did that, and I think that's kind of where I kind of got the bug for it. My grandfather was a chef. My mother was always a good cook. So I was a latchkey kid. I was the first one home all the time. So I would get dinner started instead of doing my homework, and then my mom would come home and we'd finish dinner together. So it was kind of that was like our thing. And owning the deli kind of really kind of opened my eyes to like, hey, you can actually make some money doing this. It's fun. It's yours. And so that's how I kind of got my start. I bounced around for a little while after we sold the deli. We opened another one and sold that one too, so I had a pretty steady income coming in without having to do anything.
Nice.
Until my dad kicked me out and said, hey man, get your shit together.
You got a steady income now.
You got to figure out what you do. And I said, hey, I think I want to go to culinary school. I think I'm pretty good at it. It's in my blood with my grandfather being a chef. So I always grew up cooking, so it's kind of a natural progression for me.
So you go to culinary school and you get out, and what's your first gig?
My first gig's at the 1789, also a Clyde's restaurant. It's their fine dining flagship. So I got out of school and I did my externship there, and I was making I think $5.50 an hour, and I was actually pretty excited that I was actually getting paid because it was something that I love to do. And just worked my way up, and within 4 years I became the executive sous chef. So it's a pretty quick rise from line cook to chef, and pretty happy. I got to work with a lot of great chefs. I got to work under 3 different executive chefs, all under one roof. So everything kind of fell in line for me. It was nice.
What advice would you give somebody who's thinking about going that
route? This is always a good one, but probably my biggest piece of advice would be to get in a kitchen and work in a kitchen first. I think with the Food Network and people, kids growing up just watching it and they love it, and it is shell shock when they come in and to their first restaurant, and the pace of it. If you get the wrong chef with a bad temper, that could turn you off too. But that's not me. But.
Well, speaking of Food Network, you've been on the Food Network a couple of times.
A couple times, yes.
You were on Chopped.
I was on Chopped, and I was on Chopped Redemption as well. Great experience. It was a lot of fun. It's filmed up in New York at Chelsea Market, and it was just great exposure to get my name out there, and it's great, like going to a concert or going to a sporting event and people would walk up to you, hey, you're that guy from Chopped. I'm like, yeah, that's me.
Okay, so when you're doing Chopped, obviously you don't know what the ingredients are, but is it exactly like it's seen on TV? Like you're given the ingredients and go? Absolutely.
Like the first time you see them is when you open that basket, and time starts right when Ted says so. The whole shoot was a 13 to 14 hour day, so you can imagine how much of the show ends up on the cutting room floor. But it was a great experience. Had a lot of fun. I kind of get off on that kind of pressure, I guess. So it was a good TV show for me to be on.
Yeah, because I was always curious, because like when you watch something like Master Chef, and they're like, okay, you have to make donuts.
Right.
Go. And they all start making, like, I would need to do some research on just how are donuts made.
Yeah.
But it's like they always know. So I'm assuming
I do question how that, because I know that when we were up at Mario Batali's wine store in New York, and the manager's like, oh, you just missed Mario. He was here practicing for, the Japanese show.
Oh, Iron Chef.
Iron Chef. I was like, practicing?
Well, you got to practice. Yes, stay sharp. So you did say that you were on Chopped Redemption, which then would mean that you did not win the original Chopped.
That is correct. I made it to the dessert round, and the kiwi and cream got me. So that was a tough blow for me, but they really liked my performance and decided to bring me back for a redemption episode.
How far did you get on that one?
Made it to the second round on that one. I think I got a raw deal, but it was a lot of fun. It was totally worth it. I'd definitely do it again if they asked me back.
I would think the redemption one would be a little bit harder because you probably have other chefs that made it to where you made it.
The competition's a little bit stiffer. They've been there before. They know what to expect.
Yeah.
They throw a couple extra wrinkles in there. I know that when we did our walkthrough the first time, I knew exactly where the can openers were. And if you remember the show, we were all sharing one can opener because they definitely took them and moved them or hid them or something. But they definitely put a couple extra wrinkles in there for you.
Nice. That's clever. So when did you originally air on Chop for our listeners?
Oh, the first one. Oh, geez, that's probably 6 years ago.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know the exact date or the episode, but yeah, it was a while ago. I actually got on by accident, which was kind of cool because they were here interviewing my sous chef who had applied for the show. Went to New York, had to cook for a whole panel of judges, had to stand online. He had to keep calling to see if he got on. Did I get on? Did I get on? And they finally said yeah. So they came down to video his, that 5 seconds before.
Right.
What do you do outside of the restaurant? And they saw me, and the director's like, hey, who's that guy with the mohawk over there? And I was like, I thought they were just going to ask me, is it okay if we film the restaurant, that kind of deal. But she asked, hey, how come we never applied for the show? I'm like, no, I never thought about it. Because I think you'd be great on it. I'm like, what do you mean you think I'd be great? You've never even seen me cook anything.
It's the mohawk.
That's what she said. She said, you got the look. I'm like, oh, what's the look? She goes, well, you're Asian, first of all. And then you got a mohawk. So I'm like, all right. So I said, if you fast track me through and put me on, I said, I'll definitely be there. And they're like, yeah, well, I'm pretty sure that one of the other contestants is going to be sick. I was like, oh, all right. So you're pretty serious about this. Yeah.
What is that? Affirmative action.
Exactly.
You got fast tracked.
Yeah.
So we've actually discussed our mohawks in the past.
Yeah.
So you've got the Asian hair. So it seems to be a little. It's straighter, obviously.
Yeah.
Do you have difficulty getting it to stand up, or is it?
If I have to put it up myself, in the back I have a little trouble. But my wife is usually always there for me to help me out.
What I've discovered, I use two combs.
Okay.
And I just push the combs together.
Ah, right.
And flare it up. And
gotcha.
Then after it, I'll put gel in, and after it hardens, I'll do it with the combs again.
Okay.
So it kind of separates.
Yeah, we use gel first, and then as she dries it with hairspray.
Yeah.
So the double product technique.
Yeah.
So you're familiar with the double product technique as well.
Absolutely, yes. And then I've got this my crown in the back that causes me.
Yeah.
I usually end up shaving the back part off if I can't get the good coxcomb going. I just
Gotcha.
But so I did ask, what is your specialty? Like, what is something that you really enjoy making? Like even not at the restaurant, maybe at home.
I like getting people to eat things that they don't think they're gonna like. So I kind of got to trick them sometimes, trying to think of a good one that kind of gets people.
I just did a venison neck.
Okay.
In the crock pot.
Right.
If you didn't know it was neck, you didn't hear it, you never would have known.
Yeah, something like that, man. That's what I really enjoy that. And then people say, oh my God, that was so great. Why did it take me so long to try this?
Yeah.
So that's always fun. But yeah, taking classics, giving them a twist, putting an Asian influence on it, that's kind of my style.
Excellent. Well, we do love seeing your posts on the page. Your most recent OCD one. Trust me, I understand. I'm the same way.
I know, right? It's kind of go in hand. Being a chef and being OCD, those are perfect for each other.
What would you say is one of the most difficult things of working in a kitchen?
Working in a kitchen is making sure that your team is strong. I have 5 other chefs on my team, and getting them all to kind of work together, kind of paddle in the same direction with the same goals, and really kind of be in your eyes when you're not there, so that the restaurant runs just as well as when you're there as when you're not there. Because you're only as good as your restaurant runs without you there. So that's how I feel. It's your name, but it takes a team to do it. There's no way you can do everything by yourself. So being able to delegate different jobs and different, each of my chefs are responsible for a different department, and they do the payroll, they do the scheduling, they do all that, and it's really my job to just kind of oversee all that, which happens.
So recently you did a camp for kids.
I did.
That was explain it.
Well, it was a farm to table camp. It was at Braeden Creek Nature Center, and it was cool. There were 10 to 12-year-old kids. We had about a dozen of them, and we went to a couple farms. We picked some vegetables, picked some fruit, and we went to the Maritime Museum in Annapolis. Went to my buddy's restaurant, Eastport Kitchen, and just to see a small working kitchen. And then I did a tasting menu for them at the school, which was cool. They all helped me plate up, and that was kind of their favorite part, I think, of the whole camp. We also played Chopped here, so it had 3 teams of kids, and paired them each up with one of my chefs, and they had a little Chopped competition, which was fun. And then we all had lunch together here, and great week. It was a lot of fun. I think they learned something. Trying to get them involved in the food they're eating, and getting them to go to the farmers market, and just to have fun in the kitchen, and don't be scared of big knives and flames everywhere.
I think the biggest thing the biggest mistake people make is that they're afraid to just experiment and have fun.
Right.
Skate Red has said before, there's always another dinner.
Absolutely, right? So, it's not brain surgery. If you mess up, hey, it's just a bad meal. You do better the next time,
Exactly. Well, Jeff, thanks so much for joining us.
Absolutely, had a great time.
If you're ever in the Rockville area, Rockville, Maryland, that's in Montgomery County, come on over to, was it Twin Oaks?
Tower Oaks.
Tower Oaks Lodge.
You got it.
Clyde's Tower Oaks Lodge, and check out. It's a beautiful, beautiful restaurant. Menu looks good. Yeah, so is there anything you want to hear as we head out?
Yeah, it's Friday, so let's hear 40 Ounces on Repeat by Fiddler.
On Punk Rock Foodies Radio. Thanks, Jeff.
Thank you.
What up? This is Punk Rock Foodies Radio. Steve Guerrero here. Thanks for listening to the best of 2016.
And that was one of my favorite songs, Nothing by Pennywise. And you're listening to Punk Rock Foodies Radio. And on the phone with us now is drum tech extraordinaire, Jeff Rhino Neumann. Rhino, how you doing?
I'm doing good. How are you guys doing?
We're great. We're great here.
Awesome.
So give us a little bit of how you got into the gig that you do, the being a drum tech, a tour manager.
Well, what happened was I used to be in a band here in Houston, a punk band called Latchkey Kids, and we used to play with all the Stat Records and Epitaph bands back in the day. And at one point we had this dude named Damon Delapaz playing drums for us, who was in 30 Foot Fall on Fearless Records, and they're another local Houston band. He was also in River Phoenix, which turned into Phoenix TX. And he just called me up one day and was like, hey, we're going on tour with Unwritten Law, the Tory Jellybeans, and Blink. You want to come out and hang out? I was like, sure. So, I toured with Latchkey before, doing it, ourselves, and like went 4Runner in a trailer for a month at a time, But I was like, well, I'll go out on this thing and see what's up. So I took a week off of work, and as soon as they picked me up, it was just like, you're driving. So put me in the driver's seat and, started driving all around and, then doing, I'd get to the gigs and I can't sit around and just kind of just hang out, so I just started teching and doing stuff for them. And at the time, Mark Hoppus was River Phoenix's manager, so
Okay.
he called me back. He called me backstage at the. We were playing in Vegas at the Joint, and it was November 28th, 1998. And he handed me a bunch of contracts and go, "You're the new tour manager." So that's kind of how I got into it. Just right place at the right time, and not lazy and like doing work. So. But I mean, that kind of snowballed into, I did Phoenix for a while, then into Homegrown, Les and Jake, and I mean, I've worked for like a ton of bands over the, course of the years now, so it's worked out pretty good.
Yeah. And now you're with the Descendents.
I am.
How did you get hooked into being with them?
Well, it's funny. Kent from No Effects was actually like working with Descendents, doing sound and tour managing. And there's a festival that Descendents were playing in Houston called Free Press Summerfest, which I work at a backline company here in town. I'm the backline manager, so I book all the gear for that festival. A bunch of other festivals too. So he was like, "Well, you know what? You're going to be there already. Why don't you just do the guys?" So I had like 2 months to prepare for the for the guys to show up. So as soon as they showed up, handed them all these packets, here's your check and everything, and they're kind of like, Rhino's kind of got his shit together. So I've been working with them since 2011 now. So it's been pretty cool.
It would, I guess. How is it like being a drum tech for Bill Stevens? I mean, he's kind of a god in the punk world, and as a drummer, I mean.
It's funny because like I kind of eased into that one because I was originally just tour managing. So we were doing Riot Fest, and we did Riot Fest Brooklyn. So like we were playing with like hot water music, and like they were playing before us, and like I kind of looked up on stage. I was sitting backstage, and I looked up there, and I see Addison, the hot waters tech, putting all their shit away. And I was like, "What is going on?" He's like, "They're about to play," and he's like breaking all their stuff down. And I kind of walk outside, and it looks like Ghostbusters outside, just a dark cloud moving towards the city, and like 5 minutes later, it was just dumping on everything. And we ended up playing a club show that night at St. Vitus with the Bronx, Hot Water, and us, which was insane. But that day, while Bill was setting up, because Bill likes to set his stuff up, and he takes a very long time to set up. He's very meticulous, And so I've just kind of been watching him the past few times, and for some reason, it interests me just to watch drummers and their process and stuff, because I'm not a drummer. I'm a terrible drummer, but I build drums and I understand drums very well. I'm a guitar player. So I was watching Bill set up, and like I saw him reach to go do something. I kind of stuck my hand in there and did it for him, and he, Bill's kind of an intimidating dude if you really don't know him very well. Right. I mean, sweet guy and like totally awesome once you get to know him, but like very intimidating at first. So he kind of like, he stopped and he like kind of tilted his head sideways and looked at me like real stern, and then he kind of went back to doing what he was doing. Then he stopped and he looked at me and he goes, "You reached in there because you knew what I was going to do and why I needed to do it." And I go, "Yeah, totally. I'm a drum tech. That's what I do." He's like, "Okay." And then like 3 shows later, he's like, "You tune him. I like how you tune him." So now our relationship's kind of morphed into like, because every show we do, it's a different drum kit. We don't have the same kit because we fly everywhere to do our shows.
Right.
So. So it's a mixed bag. We never know what we're going to get. So we both tag team it now together. I kind of I'll go in early and kind of preset everything to where, because he has measurements for how tall the cymbals need to be and stuff. So I've got the tape measure out doing measurements and stuff. And then he comes in and do the fine tuning of where everything needs to be. And then, we both kind of tag team the tuning. And get it up pretty quick now. But yeah, it was an interesting process, like kind of getting to that point to where he trusted me enough to like, all right, you do it now. So, but I mean, it's awesome.
That is cool. That's so cool. I've always wanted to play the drums, and I always would get behind the drum kit and start, and then it was like, this is a mistake. You know?
Well, I mean, how do you think I feel? Like I work for all these killer drummers, and then I build drums, and then I fucking can't really play them. It's like so, just like so frustrating. I mean, teching for Josh Freeze with the Vandals, and doing Barnes. I tech for Barnes from Rise Against on and off, and I did Avenged Sevenfold. I've done all kinds of all these bands. Brooks from Bad Religion. I was Brooks' guy for like 6 years. So, you know, getting to watch all these killer drummers every night is just like, it's frustrating. my arms don't work like they're supposed to.
So you recently were on tour with them down in South America. How was that entire adventure?
South America was great. I mean, the crowds were, I mean, it's the first time that the guys have ever been down there, so it was really cool seeing the crowd reaction. I mean, it was just nuts the whole time. It was great. No flares in the pit, like for no effect in Sao Paulo, but that's okay. You know, I'm pretty good. The place was like a dome and like, you know, fire and just big circles. I don't know, man. Kind of scary, but didn't happen for us, thank God. So it was a great tour.
So I saw a lot of your posts on Facebook from the tour, and it seemed you guys were out eating a lot. What were some of the best meals you had out there in South America?
Man, you know, I'm super bad with restaurant names. Dave Pollock, our agent, was with us the whole time, so he's a major food dude. So, like, the first night we went to a Michelin star restaurant in Sao Paulo and had just an incredible 4-course meal, you know, chef's choice kind of vibe. And then we did lunch at Fogo de Chao. You know, they're kind of all over, but when you're going to the one in Sao Paulo, I mean, it was pretty killer. It was a good lunch. Bill stumbled upon a place called Prime Dog, which was this hot dog place that's open 24 hours.
Nice.
So he stumbled upon this place at like 3:30 in the morning, and these dogs are insane. There's like 4 dogs inside the hot dog bun. I mean, it's just pandemonium in these hot dogs. And Andrew, our front of house guy, he put down 2.5 in one sitting, which is, we figured out to be 10 hot dogs. So Bill was there every night we're in Sao Paulo. He managed to make his way back there every night. I only did it once, but yeah, I mean, the food was great. Buenos Aires, we did a nice steakhouse, full meat ambush. You know, way too much meat. And in Chile, we did fish ambush, so it's basically just same thing as, you know, Fogo, but with fish. So that was pretty good, interesting. But yeah, we just call it like regional, like when we're in the States, we call it regional sport eating on the weekends. So like wherever we are, you know, East Coast, we're doing East Coast stuff. And then, you know, now the international sport eating is pretty strong with this camp too.
Yeah.
So, Australia in February. And I don't know if you've seen this post floating around about the world's strongest coffee, which is supposedly like the ice cubes are made out of cold brew. Well, we've located this place in Adelaide, and we're getting those coffees before the show. So I'll be videotaping that show to see how caffeinated the guys are. You know.
Yeah, I asked James Straker where he could get me some of that. You know James.
Oh yeah. Yes, I definitely have. Straker's the man. I love that guy.
Yeah. I said, get me some of this now. So, yeah, that'd be awesome. I can't wait to know about it.
Well, it was funny because I posted it on Bill's page, and one of the chicks from Blue Murder, the company that's bringing us down, she's all like, already found it in Adelaide. We already put it in the tour book, so it's it's happening. We're definitely getting it, and I'll have to give you guys a report on how gnarly it actually is.
Nice.
Yeah, man.
So, so I was talking with Vinny from Less Than Jake.
Yes.
Tell me about the peanut butter.
The peanut butter. Oh my God. Okay. So the peanut butter. I want to say, I'm pretty sure it was like the 99 tour, the Space Idiocy tour. And we had this giant brick of hash on the bus. And our bus driver's kind of a dick. He's like, oh, we're going through the border, you guys have to finish it, and blah, blah, blah. And, like, I'm not one to leave a brick of hash behind. So, like, I thawed on that thing all night long. You know, everybody who tried and, like, passed out and was asleep. And Vinny and I stayed up, you know, and he was just encouraging me to you know, finish the brick of hash. So finally I just ate it.
Oh.
And then I guess I was just like super, super baked and decided to get into Buddy's peanut butter. And I think I blamed Vinny for it for many years. I've made up for this peanut butter foul that keeps getting thrown in my face after all these years. So yeah, I mean, because peanut butter is scarce back in the day on tour. They didn't have anything good, so the guys would bring it from home and whatever.
High protein, you know.
And I ate his peanut butter. Yeah, I was fucked up and I ate his peanut butter. Oh well.
All right.
But I'm reminded of it like pretty often. It's funny. I'll get random texts, you know, stuff like that from the guys.
Including literally right now.
Yeah, I'm sure, right.
So we got the holiday season amongst us. Are there any holiday treats or traditions that you're looking forward to for, say, Christmas or Hanukkah or Kwanzaa?
You know, I mean, the thing that I used to love the most when my grandma was alive was her molasses cookies. My mom makes them every now and again.
But they're just not as good. They're just not as good, are they?
They're good, but you know, Grandma made them.
Exactly.
So, you know, they were like super special, you know. But she's gone, and you know, all my family is spread out all over the place, like Washington, Colorado, North Carolina, and I'm in Texas. So, you know, now all my brothers have kids, and I have dogs. So, the grandkids get visited more than me. So.
Right.
You know, and I'm always on tour or, you know, working, so I don't really get to go see them too often. So no Christmas cookies for me this year, but hopefully I can get my wife to make some. So
yeah,
we'll see.
Do you have any plans for New Year's?
No, really. If I'm not touring, I'm at my shop doing backline, which is basically just doing the same thing as being on tour, just sleeping in my own bed.
Right.
So, yeah, I mean, if I'm doing anything for New Year's Eve, it's probably doing a show for, you know, some band here, some random band that's rented backline from us. But so far, we've got nothing, so I'm clear. So probably just a nice, quiet evening at home with the wife, or I will get drug out to some party. You know, we'll see.
So, besides the Australia tour, what else you got planned for 2017?
Man, there's actually quite a bit on the calendar. I haven't seen a full list of what's going on. I know what we're going to be doing. This year we were doing a lot of leaving Wednesday evenings, flying to wherever we were doing the shows, play Thursday, Friday travel, play Saturday, home Sunday. We're going to start doing every other week this year and just doing Thursday, flying Thursday, play Friday, Saturday, home Sunday. So we're kind of tightening our schedule up a little bit, and then it'll be, you know, every other week. So I honestly, I don't know what the routing is yet or what we've got planned. I know that Australia is definitely happening, and I've heard there's possibly an Arizona and a California show mid-March right now, but that's all I've heard about at the moment. And I believe they're probably going to go back to Europe, but I don't do the Europe stuff because I don't really do the extended tours unless, you know, they desperately need me just because, you know, work here, trying to balance 2 jobs, you know how it is, so gotta keep the employer happy.
So,
but yeah.
So, like, the Descendents, I mean, they weren't touring for a very long time. Like, they would just do a couple of shows every now and then. And I know, like, Milo got out of the whole science, not that he got out of being a scientist, but, like, he kind of started focusing on the music.
Yeah, there was a big layoff at DuPont, so he got laid off, and, you know, oh shit, he's got to fall back on band, you know? I mean, how many people get to, like, be fired and then, like, sorry, you're going to have to go sing for your ultra-famous band.
Exactly.
Living, you know?
What the? Oh, that's the worst.
Yeah. Yeah, that's just, oh, man, so shitty, you got to fall back on that, man, you know? So, I mean, his voice is getting way stronger, and, you know, I think, all the guys are falling into it, and, I mean, it's going really, really well. I mean, they play tighter than ever. They pretty much destroy every stage they play, so, I mean, it's awesome, you know.
When, great. I don't remember, how long ago did Bill have the surgery?
The brain, I'm not sure when the brain surgery actually happened, but he did have surgery in January of this year. He had a double lung surgery and a triple bypass. Basically, he had blood clots in his lungs, and they removed the blood clots from his lungs, and then gave him a triple bypass while they were in there. So he's as good as new and you know,
now,
super strong.
He's as good as new, except for all those hot dogs he ate down in Sao Paulo.
Yeah, right. I mean, once you have the triple bypass, you know, it's like, you know, I mean, your pipes are all cleaned out, but you're really not supposed to just go back full force, you know. But I mean, you can't watch a dude 24 hours a day, and you know, if they're gonna go off on a full foraging, you know, they're gonna go off on a full foraging, you know.
Well, Rhino, thanks a lot for talking to us.
Totally.
This was a great interview. It was great hearing about everything. Is there anything else that you'd like to mention before we go?
Houston, definitely a good food spot for you guys to check out. If you know, if you're in Houston, we have a couple James Beard Award winner chefs here, and tons of killer restaurants. So, you know,
what's one of the places you look forward to eating at most when you get back home?
Usually, I like Liberty Kitchen. That's my favorite. My wife will say Underbelly. She loves Underbelly, which our friend Chris Shepard owns. He's one of the James Beard Award winners. There's just so many choices here. I mean, the Foreign Correspondent does like a Thai stuff. There's Downhouse, Petrol Station, State Fair, Lee's Chicken and Donuts, Pie Pizza, which is killer, like total punk rock pizza place here, owned by my friend Lee and Anthony, the head chef. Then I went in there and I recognized the chef, and I was like, He came up to me, he's like, dude, remember me? I used to do like security at your shows back in the day at Fitzgerald. So it's like, holy shit, dude. Yeah, and like, so I mean, small world. Like I walked in, I'm like, oh, they're playing Black Flag. I could get into this place. You know? So, killer pizza place. I mean, there's so much here to do and eat. That's why I'm fat, and you know, so I'm just big.
Do you do any cooking yourself?
I do a little bit. I dabble. My wife is the cook in our house. You know, she's from Louisiana, so nice. She gets down. You know, which is awesome. And but you know, we're so crazy busy. We don't cook as much as we'd like to. And so, you know, we get to go out and explore all the restaurants in town instead. So, what's
one of your favorite dishes she makes?
Oh man. Honestly, she made like one of the craziest tuna steaks I've ever had. It was killer. She did sesame encrusted tuna. It was just out of control. Yeah, she did killer. One of her best. The worst was the coffee encrusted steak. She will say that too, hands down. That was like probably one of the worst experiences, or not experiences, but experiments we tried. That one was pretty bad.
Well, they can't all be winners, and there's always another dinner in the future. So,
Totally. Yeah, man.
Well, all right, man. Hey, thanks a lot for talking to us. We're gonna send it off.
Killer.
We're gonna send it off now with some Descendents off their new album. This one actually Milo wrote about Bill. This is called Comeback Kid on Punk Rock Foodies Radio.
Awesome. Thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
Yo, this is Skate Rap Betty, and you're listening to the best of Punk Rock Foodies Radio in 2016.
And that was Snowflake by the PEARS. And on the phone with us now is Zach Quinn of the PEARS. How you doing, Zach?
Hey, I'm doing all right. Just sitting around doing more of my favorite things, just waiting to play, which is, probably, I think, 85% of this gig, hanging out at bars waiting to play.
Well, yeah, I guess when you think about it, you guys, you do like a 30, 40-minute set, like in a 24-hour day.
Yeah.
Most of your time is waiting.
Most of it, it's not even like the music part is the fun part. I guess like the job part of it is not losing your fucking mind. Waiting between from show to show or like the drives. I mean, that's the hard part.
Yeah. So, for any of our listeners who don't know about the PEARS, could you give us like a brief history of the band?
Sure. We started in early 2014. Cut a record right out of the gate, and started touring in August that year. And we essentially have been touring since. I mean, more or less. I think the volume has gone up as things have gotten more intense, and then Fat Wreck happened, and then we started touring more and more, and now I've been home for 15 days since February, and not all at once either. I guess that's the brief version of it. We're workhorses.
Yeah, for sure. And home is New Orleans, or not?
Yes. Yeah. Well, you never catch one of us saying it that way. Yeah.
Right. Great city.
Oh yeah, best city in the world.
If
I may say so. I mean, maybe I'm a bit biased, but
no, I've said it before on the show. I think it's an amazing city. The music in the city, and then the food is probably the most American, like true American food. Like it's such a conglomerate of all cultures that like it's some of the best food in the world.
That's true. It really is it's mishmash everything.
Yeah. Well, we'll talk about food in a little bit, but so you guys you did you cut the record, you got signed with Fat. What was that like? I mean, that's Fat Records is one of the top punk labels, so it's got to feel good.
Yeah, it really does. Signing to Fat was a completely surreal experience, especially we've been a band I think for 15 months or 14 months when it happened. So it's kind of like Oh, and of course, it had to be when they were doing the Fat 25, shows, 25 years of Fat Records. So they ended up putting us on a couple of those shows, and it's like incredible. It's incredibly jarring to go from being not sign the Fat Records,
Right.
to not only sign the Fat Records, but then drop into a backstage area with every Fat Rec band that is, you know, that you've been listening to since you were like a kid.
Yeah.
That was a really, really intense, bizarre, really scary thing.
I can imagine.
To like just be standing back there and then like everybody is around you, you know? I mean, like that was totally fucking weird. I think the only thing weirder was, the Flatliners. It must be weirder for them. I think they were really young. We're all, you know, mid to late 20s, but I think they were like super young when it happened. I'm not sure, but
Yeah, I can't imagine. You know, I interviewed Joey Cape just this past year, and it was like, you know, I've seen him since, you know, in concert with Lagwagon since I was like 21 years old. It's like, wow.
Right.
You know, I mean, and that's just one guy. I can't imagine being in a room with, you know, all strung out and no effects and, you know, like, that's
yeah,
just
man,
crazy.
It was really, really fucking weird. It was scary, you know, intense.
Yeah. But, hey, so I don't know if you're willing to talk about it because I don't know what happened, but what happened in Australia?
Well, there's a couple of things about Australia. The one of the big ones happened right before it, which was our player at the time decided to let us know he's not coming 2 hours before the flight. He had been lying to us for days about being on his way to the West Coast to meet up with us to fly over. And 2 hours before we left, it kind of all came, you know, flooding out, like all the truth. And he was still in Atlanta, and I mean, it was a nightmare. I mean, like, for a tour like that, I mean, like, we were support, you know,
Right.
For Strung Out. And how that works is, like, we had already been paid for that tour, and we used that money to buy tickets, one of which went straight down the toilet because he wasn't coming. And so it's like, we can't really not do the tour.
No, right.
We've been paid for the tour already. You know, so it's like, I mean, like, and totally, like, I guess, I mean, we could have, you know, all things considered, I mean, like, we could have done that, but we weren't about to, you know? So we were just like, we have to figure out how to do this. We have to either, you know, do the awesome thing and truck through it. And now, you know, what ended up happening is we have what we refer to now as the Down Under Six. There's like 6 people all together, I think, played bass or PEARS while we were there. We were there for like a month. Pat from the Decline did most of it. I mean, after a week and a half, he jumped on for the rest of the tour, and that was that. It kind of went back to normal. Aside from the fact that I had broken bones in my hand and shattered my carpal, which was lovely. I was doing I did an Iron Man landing, essentially. You know, how he lands with one fist in the ground?
Yeah. Ow.
Yeah. I did that in the middle of the set and just decimated my fucking head. It was funny. I mean, like, I couldn't feel anything at the time because, you know, I was like, it was adrenaline and it didn't hurt, but it looked ridiculous. And I turned around and looked at Jarrett between thumbs and I was like, look at this. And he was like, oh no! And then we just kept going, you know, and after the show, there was no like, oh, maybe it's okay, maybe we'll ice it. Just like, walk off the stage like, time to go to the hospital. See you guys later.
And I saw like Jordan Burns played bass for you guys in one of the shows. And...
Oh, not Jordan.
Rob?
Well, Jordan's their drummer. Rob.
Oh yeah,
Rob did some
Chris.
bass,
I'm going to think Chris Aiken.
And one of the shows, Chris played bass on several of the shows. But
Right.
I mean, it was just like different songs. We actually like switched out bass players several times since then.
Yeah.
Until Pat, of course.
Gotcha.
And then Hayden from Night Gone did our two New Zealand shows, and that I have to shout that out too because man, he played 2 shows and he learned all that shit for 2 shows and he learned it really well. I mean, it was great. He was great. Both Pat and Hayden were just fucking awesome. Saved the day.
So who's the bass player now?
Now we've got my buddy Eric Goodyear. Me and that dude have been friends for I think 11 years.
And every time it's been time to fill the bass slot in this band, I've said we should get that guy. And even from the get-go. But early on, Alex carried over from the Lollies, which makes sense.
Right.
Which is our band before. And then John, the guy that bailed on us, was Brian's brilliant idea. And I knew that guy was fucking nuts, honestly. I mean, I knew it was going to be a bad idea. But finally, after that, it was like, okay, Eric, and now everything's really kind of wonderful. For the first time, I mean, like, we're, I feel like we're hanging out all the time, which is cool.
Yeah, that definitely makes a
good.
difference. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I mentioned Joey Cave earlier. I'm assuming the fact that, like, being on Fat, you get that recognition now, and Joey tapped you as one of his, he wanted to do a 1 week records with you, which is 1 week at his house, just nailed down a bunch of songs. What was that like?
When that whole thing started, I mean, like, when I got out there, I did a pretty decent job putting away the sort of, like, star-strucken, like, that, like, feeling, like, oh my god, like, I kind of, like, and also at that point, I mean, we had toured with Wagwagman, so, like, I was pretty comfortable just around him in general,
Yes.
But it's always scary, like, working with somebody new, and especially, like, when you're in a situation where it's like, I can't go home and not go back if it doesn't work,
Right.
But, like, it's like every bit of, like, worry or trepidation, like, just dissipated almost, I mean, like, very, very quickly. I mean, like, he was very easy to work with, and he's so smart. I mean, I brought out, like, all these songs, and then I kind of left them, like, mostly unfinished. Or not mostly, but, like, partly unfinished, like, each one. Like, save a few that were, like, old band songs, which were done. And I really got to sit down and work with him and, like, figure out how to make these, like, songs work. And it was really, really fun. I mean, he's a brilliant songwriter himself, and it was almost like having a songwriting coach for a week. It was really cool.
That's awesome. Now, like, the PEARS songs, some people would describe it as, like, hardcore punk, and there's some, like, almost like screaming, and, I mean, it's pretty intense music.
Sure.
And then you go to doing this acoustic. Like, how was that for you? Was it almost like cathartic in a way, like being able to shift gears, or?
Yeah, it was really nice to be able to do it. I mean, like, I listened to so much more than just punk,
Right.
And I guess, like, PEARS happened because, like, all right, well, that's this, out of everything that I listen to, here's this thing that I'm good at, actually,
Right.
Like, I can't play everything that I listen to as much as I can. Like, deep down, I probably wish that, like, I was some sort of, like, Bob movie, like, songwriter guy, but I'm not,
Oh, I wish I was like James Taylor. That guy makes a fortune. He's an amazing songwriter.
Hell yeah. But it's like, but that's not what this is what I do, and this is what I do well. And so there's that, and getting to work on that other stuff was kind of like opening up a new door and discovering something else that, like, oh man, maybe I can actually do this. Maybe music like this isn't just going to be something that I'm restricted to only listening to. Maybe I can play it.
Yeah.
And that's really great, And I've worked on, like, solo stuff I've done it over the course of the last 10 years so many times. I mean, there's so many songs that I've written and recorded at my house, that I never did anything with. And this was kind of like getting to actually do it, and it was really cool. It was really great.
Well, let's listen to one of the songs. This is off of Zach Quinn's 1 Week Record album. This one actually is one of my favorite.
I don't know how you feel about it. I'm sure you love it because it's one of your babies. But this is Egg Train on Punk Rock Foodies Radio.
Oh, I love that song.
Punk Rock Foodies Radio, talking with Zach Quinn of the PEARS. So you are, like I said, you're from Nolens, New Orleans, however you want to pronounce it. Greatest food city in the world, as far as I'm concerned. What is like one of your favorite meals? Like you said, you're on tour. You've
been home 15 times since February. So, what's like the meal you love to go for when you get home?
I mean, getting home now, it's like I kind of just like jump into Coon and just like sit in my house. Every time I'm out on tour, I tell myself that I'm going to go home and eat all kinds of cool stuff and do all kinds of cool stuff. And but we haven't really been home long enough for me to recover to actually want to go do anything for a while.
Yeah.
But I'm about to be home for 3 weeks, and it's been one of my favorite sandwiches forever. But every time, the first thing that comes to mind is fried shrimp on bun from Birdie Mart, and that'll be the first meal.
Nice.
When I leave my house, not when I get home. Probably when I get home, it'll be like canned tuna, whatever other shit that's just laying around the house.
Peanut butter and jelly.
Yeah, totally like standard kitchen bullshit. Yeah.
Well, so like when you're on tour, what do you guys generally eat when you're on tour?
Man, the meal situation for us is chaos because we often we have long drives, and so unfortunately I eat a lot of crap that I don't want to eat, like fast food and gas station food is the worst. But when I get my pick, I really like to, especially because our sets are so physical.
Yeah.
I don't like to eat anything that's super, super heavy. I'm speaking for myself. I watch these guys eat giant burgers all the time, and I don't know how they do it. But again, as physical as they are, they don't have to jump up and down, which I guess it just makes me. It'll make it. I feel like I'm going to throw up if I eat heavy food like that.
Right.
Yeah, I guess my go-to for dinners would be some sort of if there's meat, it's chicken, and preferably grilled. But it's just, I don't know, it's the lightest of the meats, it feels light.
Oh, absolutely.
It doesn't feel like a rock in my stomach,
Yeah.
But that and just veggies and that's generally what I like to eat before shows, but a couple hours, obviously.
Is there a city you've been to that has you've eaten in a restaurant where you're just I can't wait to get back to that city because I want that meal again?
Oh yeah, Atomic Grill. That's where the hell is that? I think it's in West Virginia.
It's so good you can't remember where it is. You just know the name. That's awesome.
Yeah. Dude, it's amazing. It's West Virginia, and it's a buddy of ours, we met him doing, touring or whatever, and we played with his band, this guy Dano. He plays in a band called Yellow Dog Union, and he used to run a restaurant, stepped away from it just to do other things, but he used to run a restaurant called Atomic Grill, and it kind of pioneered West Virginia barbecue.
Okay.
And man, I can't say enough good things about that food. So, I was just talking about how I don't like to eat heavy. This is absolutely heavy food. It's the heaviest food ever. And I totally shouldn't be eating shit like this, especially while we're on the road. But yeah, it's amazing. If you get a chance, you need to go. Where are you at?
I'm near Washington, D.C., so I'm actually pretty close to West Virginia.
Okay.
So,
okay.
Yeah. Okay, Atomic Grill.
It's really, really good.
Look it up.
Yeah. Their specials are always so creative, too. Oh, man, I don't even remember. I just remember being in awe.
Yeah. That makes it a good restaurant.
From that, too.
That makes it a good restaurant.
Another really awesome thing that he did was that he had some there was some creep in his restaurant that told him you'd get more customers if your waitress showed more skin. So he did this campaign that he called Show More Skin. And it was they had these potato skin specials that were a big hit. And And he ran this whole campaign, got tons of people out, and just gave everybody that just donated all the money to a battered women's shelter.
Oh, good for
Which
him.
that's
awesome.
just so fucking awesome.
That's great.
So cool.
That's good.
Yeah.
There's
He's
always
a really good guy. He's a really good guy.
There's always one drunk in the bar that knows how to do things better than everybody else in the bar. So yeah.
God, right? God, just shut the dude. What? I don't know. That's so stupid to me. Let the people that are working do their job. God.
Yeah. So, do you do any cooking at all?
No, man. I'm way stupid. I can boil an egg. I can hard boil an egg, and I can make ramen. And I'm the really, really, really basic shit. No, I'm not a cooking guy.
Okay, that's
I'm a
fair.
garbage disposal, though. I mean, I'll eat literally anything. But that also kind of makes me less interesting of a food conversation because I'll eat garbage and just be like, that's fine.
That's all right. Brian was saying earlier about how he ate worms, so I mean, it's fair.
Right on, yeah. Yeah.
Well, I mean, you also have been on the road so much, you don't even have time to do much cooking, so it's fair enough. Even if you wanted to learn.
No.
But,
yeah, right. I mean, I'd love to get into it, but I don't have any time to do anything except sulk. Got all the time to do that.
Well, so what's going on with the PEARS now? You guys are on tour. You said you're going to be taking a break here soon, but...
Well, yeah, we're going to take, we have 3 weeks off. We have 8 more shows right now.
Okay.
We'll have 3 weeks off, and then we head overseas. We're doing a UK tour with Bouncing Souls.
Nice.
Some mainland stuff with Wilhelm and Off With Their Heads. I think there's even a couple Authority Zero shows in there.
Wow.
And then we'll come back. Then we've got a West Coast tour with Direct Hit. And then other stuff this year that I can't talk about yet. Special stuff, really cool stuff. But yeah, that's what's on the docket currently.
You mentioned Off of Their Heads. Is it you guys have a connection? It wasn't Anxious and Angry. Were you on their record label there? Or?
Yeah, Ryan essentially gave us our live.
Okay.
I mean, we played our first show with Off of Their Heads in New Orleans, and Rob really loved it. And we kept in touch. When we put out Go to Prison originally, we self-released it. We couldn't even begin to afford vinyl. We didn't even think of it.
Yeah.
We put out the CD. Ryan heard the record and was like, "You guys can't afford vinyl. I'll pay for it. I'll put it out on my handle, Anxious and Angry." And he's been our biggest fucking cheerleader ever since. I mean, that dude is a saint. He essentially, with Anxious and Angry, and then with putting out, playing us on his show and putting us out on his label, I feel like he gave us an audience right out of the gate, which is such a luxury,
Yeah.
I mean, he's one of the biggest reasons that I think we're able to work at the capacity that we do right now.
Yeah. No, I can see the connection. I mean, there's definitely a nice blend between your sound and their sound. So, the audience is pretty similar. So that would definitely open it up to you guys. So,
yeah.
All right. Well, let's listen to a little bit more PEARS here. Thank you so much, Zach, for joining us.
Of course. Anytime.
We'll listen to the title track here off of their latest album, Green Star. This is Green Star on Punk Rock Foodies Radio.
The best one on the record. Good choice.
Hey, this is Amelia, the girl who screams at the end, and you're listening to the best of Punk Rock Foodies Radio 2016.
And that was the Descendents with On Paper off of their latest album that recently came out. And we've got on the phone with us the Skate Rat Betty. Skate Rat, how you doing?
What's up? How's it going? I'm doing pretty great.
We all miss you here at the Vicious Pig Saloon.
I know. I miss being able to come around and travel. It'll be nice to when I can like leave the house again.
Yeah, but you've got good reason to stay home. That's a beautiful baby you have. How are things going with Penelope?
I do, and in fact, she's super great. She really is most of the time like perfect little angel baby. It's at like 5%. You got to watch out for her. They say if your kids are 3 times as bad as you were, oh man, am I going to be in for it when she's like 16?
Oh hell yeah! We all know your record.
Yeah. Trying to have like she seems to sometimes the schedule, and then as soon as I get used to it, it's like, oh no, we're not doing that anymore.
Yeah, that happens. But eventually it all clicks.
Yes, and we're definitely getting better at it. I feel like right now she's in particular like, let me show you the devil baby. My mom says I'm so great.
So so like I said, I mean, we miss you here on the show. It's kind of I don't know if you've heard any of the past episodes without you, but it's been a little chaotic. We definitely need you to tie us all together here. But
well, and I think I missed the last couple of episodes.
Yeah.
One or two in my pregnancy I didn't listen to just because I got I get a little depressed here and there. When I get depressed, I can't listen to the radio show. I get a little nervous sometimes. Yeah, silly.
Well, we'll eventually. You obviously Penny will get herself on a nice little schedule there, and we would be able to get you back in here on the regular. That'd be great. I know the waitresses here at the Vicious Pig Saloon have a gift for you, so you got to come and pick that up at least.
Oh, great. Well, and I know we're all here in the Marston household looking forward to that beer episode. I know I owe Mike a few beer 30s. He's been like a huge help here, with the new baby in the house and stuff. He really does like above and beyond go with the dad power. Yeah. So we're looking forward to doing like our little Florida episode and the beer episode.
Yes, we're all looking forward to that. I can't wait to drink these beers. Yeah, so this episode we talked about that Facebook post of all the different bands, and so we thought it'd be great to get your take on this list. Let's start with the first one, band you hate.
I have a couple. There's like one or two that I boycott. Like I don't want to listen to the Red Hot Chili Peppers or Nirvana like ever.
Right.
But I think like band I absolutely hate. I don't know. I'm gonna say No Effect, even though I actually like a few of their songs, like their older songs especially. But I really am not down with them. I think they're kind of dicks. I think that they're a little bit too political when what I'm paying is like for a concert ticket. I don't like. I hate them more for personal reasons than anything because I actually do like a few of their songs. But yeah, they're probably one of the few bands where I'm like, oh, you asshole.
That's so great. Yeah, that's my favorite band.
Well, and I love Bad Religion, and I know you don't listen like Bad Religion.
Yeah, I don't hate them. I'm just not a big fan of Bad Religion, so
Yeah, I think when George Bush became president, I started to really not like No Effect.
Yeah. Well, the funny thing is, nobody said the Grateful Dead. Like, I figured that would have been the gimme. Everybody hates the Grateful Dead, but
I don't like the Doors.
Yeah.
No, I don't like the Doors. Yep. No.
So then that kind of would lead into the next one, the most overrated band.
The Doors. Yeah.
Yeah. I said Led Zeppelin. Brian said the Rolling Stones. Steve said the Eagles. So yeah, I could see that with the Doors as well. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So now the tricky one is underrated. And I consider it tricky just because of the genre we listen to. It's not like Brian said. There's a ceiling.
I would, and I would have said like a year ago, and they're not even. I wouldn't even consider them punk. I think somebody would probably call them like scenester music, but I don't even know what the fuck the scene is that a scenester is from. But like Hollywood Undead, until I heard their latest album, I would have said was the most underrated. But I'm not a big fan of their newest album. Can I say like AWOL Nation?
Sure. I mean, I don't even know who that is, so they must be underrated.
Yeah, I mean, seriously, I think they came out with like a second album, and I was like, really? You guys have been around for like forever? You're not on like a third or a fourth?
Yeah.
But, yeah.
All right, so what's a band you love? Now, not your favorite band, but just a band you love.
Well, like Less Than Jake. You know what I mean? Like, you can put on Less Than Jake songs, and really almost any of them will go with any mood, and most of them put me in a great mood. Like, they're fun to sing, and...
Yeah, definitely. Because they get that... They're upbeat. You know, I mean, they got that ska sound, but they're very upbeat. Because there's some ska bands out there that can be kind of hard and heavy, and I guess they consider ska just because they have the horns. But yeah, they're more like happy, fun. Plus, they're from Florida.
Yeah, and some of them are more like reggae. Yeah, some of them are more reggae, and I dig that too. But yeah, I do feel like they're more like, you know, I'm in a good mood. I'm going to the beach music. You know.
Okay, so then a band that you secretly love.
Yeah, that's like terrible white guy rap.
Yeah, well, that's what I say. We did the guilty pleasure, so it's not really a secret anymore. But yeah, you're
not anymore. Yeah, yeah. Well, and every once in a while, I forget that like my YouTube or whatever broadcasts my Facebook page. So I'm like, yeah, I'll just watch this Britney Spears video like for the 100th time. No one will know.
So, what's your favorite band then?
I would still say Bad Religion.
Yeah.
Because honestly, like, I feel like they have come with me from such a long time period. If I wanted to pick something like a little lighter, I would probably go for Tori Amos, like for the same reason.
Okay.
You know what I mean? She's music that I listen to now, that I listened to like, you know, more years ago than I would care to admit. You know, and stuff that has spanned such different, you know, feelings and topics and the, you know, way that they make their music. So even Bad Religion, I feel like has really changed over the years from when I first heard like some 80, 85 shit and what they do now.
Well, like all bands, they evolve, they get better at what they do, they you know, they click better as a group. And I mean, I know Bad Religion isn't the same group that they have always been, but you know, they know what to do. All the members have been around long enough that they can really get it down. So yeah, well, so then the next one was the most intelligent lyrics, and we all kind of just said Bad Religion.
Yeah, I was just gonna say shit. I probably would have said them anyway. Seriously, half the time I have to like, and I love words, and like every once in a while I have to look up something from there. From their lyrics.
What's that meme? The Bad Religion starter kit. It's like Suffer and a thesaurus or something like.
Yeah, their songs don't come with a PhD, you know.
Yeah, right. Okay, so this next one was we looked at this one two different ways. It was a favorite band that is split up. So it's a favorite band that is no longer together, not like bullshit Screeching Weasel, which is Ben Weasel with a bunch of friends, but you know, like just they're done. They don't even perform anymore.
So can I say the Ramones? Because I did see, was it Margie? I think was like the last one.
I mean, I guess. I mean,
I saw a concert.
I mean, obviously they can never get back together, but.
Yeah, I mean, it's not that they broke up so much. I mean...
Yeah, I mean, when people die...
you have to break up the band, I guess, to some extent, yeah.
Okay, so let's...
I mean, well, I don't know if there's that clean...
Well, so let's look at that. So then the other way we looked at it was a band that is split up, that if they did get back together, like, that you would want to go see them. If they had, like, a reunion show, that you would definitely go see. So these people would have to be alive, then, obviously.
Yeah, shit. Yeah, screws up my whole... oh, man, I don't know.
Yeah, it was tough.
I'm trying to think of anyone in my... like, that I know is totally bright. Seems like half the time I'm amazed every day when shit pops up on Facebook, and I'm like, wow, they put out a new... I just know they were still together or alive.
Yeah. That's true. Yeah, because they don't... You know, a lot of bands anymore... You know, I was thinking about the other day, like NoFX has been together forever, and a lot of these bands have actually been like the complete band for a very long time. And they might hate each other, but they know what they're doing for their job. And so, you know, thinking about like how the Misfits are going to finally get back together because, you know, Danzig finally got off his high horse and realized, that he could be making a hell of a lot more money instead of dealing with this petty bullshit. So there aren't very many bands that I guess that really split up. I said Jawbreaker.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, no, and I don't know them that well. No, I don't know. I honestly don't know. I think most of the bands that I think of when I think of, like, where they don't perform together anymore, most of them it's just somebody died.
Right, yeah.
Yeah, I pass on that one.
Okay. So do you have any a band that your friends are in? Like, do you have any friends that are in a band? And not that you're friends with people that are in a band, but, like, you were friends with these people and they became a band? Like anyone you went to high school with?
I have a lot of creative friends. So I do have quite a few friends that now play, like, little pub shows and stuff like that. Ben Prestige is like a world famous blues guy. He travels all over. He does European tours, American tours, and he played at Mike and I's wedding because I've known him since middle school, and Mike went to school with his wife.
That's cool.
So he played at our wedding. Some of my friends that we used to go to jam bands with on the weekends, my roommate was really into that, like, fish type music.
Right.
So we would go listen to, like, jam band shit on the weekend. So a bunch of our friends in that scene actually sat in with, like, Ben during our wedding and stuff. It was actually pretty sweet. Not a lot of dancing, but but that's all right. But yeah, but honestly, other than that, no. There's, like, some little guys here that I know. But really, they're, like, local guys that are just kind of in every band all the time.
Right.
Yeah.
So what's your favorite band to see live?
Actually, it's usually reggae shows. Like,
so any like reggae?
Yeah, especially, honestly, here in Florida, too. I know weed's not legal and shit like that, so, whatever. But, we have some really great beaches and some awesome locations and shit like that for those kind of concerts, and really, legal or not, that concert is what it is.
Right.
Yeah, they're fun, and really great if you're outside in the heat. Like, I've done pits in the heat in the summer here, and that's a lot.
Yeah. All right, then this last one, nobody could really answer because there's just too many of them, but your favorite dead artist?
Oh, shit.
Jim Morrison?
Actually, I'm probably going to have to say Elvis.
Yeah?
Like, I'm a huge, like, closet Elvis fan. I threw out my record player a couple of years ago, so I got a new record player today, and I have a few records already, and I was so excited because I was thinking about, I was at the thrift store a couple of days ago, and I saw they had, like, a big stash of Elvis records for, like, 50 cents a piece back, and I was like, oh, shit, I'm going to go get all of them now.
Nice.
Yeah.
All right, Elvis.
Yeah. It's amazing how, like, relevant his songs are. Even when Cartman jokes around about "in the ghetto" on South Park and stuff, that's the Elvis song, yeah.
Well, yeah, he's had just as many number one hits as the Beatles, he's
yeah.
And he played for so long that even his style changed, and so, just like the Beatles, their little "I Want to Hold Your Hand" all the way to, like, Sgt. Pepper is such a change. Elvis had that same progression in a sense.
Yeah.
So he could.
Yeah, and I think where he stands out for me is that I like so many of the different, like, phases or, like, genres that he went through.
Yeah.
Whereas the Beatles really, in particular, I feel like had one or two albums that they drew me in, and the rest really wasn't my style. But Elvis, so much of his stuff I feel like just was so awesome and, like, really helped fund rock and roll. And, yeah.
Well, that's the list. You been doing any cooking, or just been too busy with Penny?
Well, we try. So it's a little harder now, you know, and you kind of have to get used to like eating cold food because she's usually waking up as soon as like whatever it is you're making is ready. But it's like a really good scheduler like that. But we do little things, and Mike has been a big help, like I was saying, and a lot of people that want to show up and well, the baby bring food, which is really great and really helpful. And
Oh, absolutely.
I wish I thought it was both of them friends, yeah. But, yeah, so we've been doing little stuff, and I'm looking forward to the next Punk Rock Foodies Challenge so we can step in and, you know, pretty quick we'll have Miss Penny in a high chair showing her how to do it.
Yeah, awesome. She'll be posting her own pics soon. Before you know it. All right.
Yep.
Well,
Mom, can I have the car keys?
yeah. All right, well, do you have a song you'd like to hear? Since you haven't been able to introduce any songs the last few weeks, so we'll let you do one now.
I do, and, you know, I got to tell you, I already told Mike as soon as we're ready for our first dinner out, I'm so ready for that tuna poachy. So we're going to play Tuna Taco by the Angry Samoans.
All right, on Punk Rock Foodies Radio. Thanks, Skate Rat.
All right, cool. We'll see you guys later.
Hey, everybody. This is Steve Guerrero, and you're listening to the Best of Punk Rock Foodies Radio of 2016. This actually is Brian Reinhardt, but, you know, who gives a shit?
I'm falling down.
And that was Titty Twister by Diesel Boy, and on the phone with us now is the guitarist for Diesel Boy, Mr. Justin Werth. Justin, how you doing?
I'm doing awesome, Xander. Thanks for asking. How are you?
I'm good. So, I know that you're not just the guitarist for Diesel Boy. You're in a couple of other bands, but Diesel Boy was is the oldest one. Tell us a little bit about how Diesel Boy started and how you guys all got it together.
Well, back in the early 90s, I was going to Sonoma State University, and I had actually just started playing guitar, you know, when I moved up here from Southern California. A lot of people, you know, play guitar from you know, when the time that they're young, and I was a real late starter, but I spent a lot of time in my dorm room practicing the first couple years. I don't think I barely ever went to class. I'm pretty surprised that I even graduated. But I taught myself how to play guitar and played in some, you know, my first couple bands. And during that time, Dave from Diesel Boy had started Diesel Boy with you know, with some original members, and we played shows together. The band that I was in at that time was named Scapegoat, and as a turn of events would have it, Scapegoat broke up. Our singer left to do other stuff, and Dave was having issues with his rhythm section. At that point, Diesel Boy was a three-piece, so it was just Dave and then a bass player and a drummer, and so we kind of both bands kind of, you know, disintegrated at the same time, so to speak. And Dave was also at Sonoma State, as was Mike, our original drummer. And Mike and Dave hooked up, and you know, because we knew each other from playing shows together. And long story short, Mike and our bass player Greg, who had moved out from Austin, Texas, you know, like a few years prior, hooked up, and you know, Dave was thinking, hey, I got my three-piece back together, but he knew of me, and Mike was really pushing for you know, a two-guitar setup. So it was shortly after those guys joined the band that Dave approached me and asked me to be a Diesel Boy, and that was about a month after I finished Sonoma State. We all finished our schoolwork, and then Diesel Boy Diesel Boy as you know it, at least the first two records were with Mike playing drums, started that way.
And the first album was Cock Rock that came out in '96, and you guys were touring like crazy. I think I read somewhere that you guys toured almost every state. You were playing like 40 of the 50 states or something.
That's right. Yeah. We so So Dave, Dave was a communications major, and he needed to fulfill some internship credits. And so what happened is he got an internship at Fat Records, and then he was kind of sly about it. He didn't say, "Hey guys, I'm in a band." Like the first day he was in there, he kind of just sort of, got in there, was a good worker, and then just kind of let it slip to some guys in the warehouse in the back of the house, and slowly but surely, word got to Fat Mike that he was in a band, and at that same time, the guys from Bracket, who also were from Sonoma County and were doing a lot of stuff on Fat Records at that point, were friends of ours, and so in conjunction with what he'd heard from the warehouse guys and from Bracket, Mike decided to give us a listen, and he liked it, and said he wanted to put out a record. So he started Honest Don's Hardly Used Recordings, and we were like the flagship band for that. And that Mike waved his magic wand and talked to the guys from Strung Out and said, "Hey, I want you to take these guys on tour with you on your next tour." So our first tour ever was in a bus. It was 9 weeks, the United States and Canada. So that was, we played in most of the states that first tour, and we went all the way, played in every province in Canada, and we continued to do that. I think we did 5 full Canadian tours over our 4-record period, 5 full United States tours, and then various sort of West Coast smaller jaunts. I know we did 2 weeks with the Vandals for their Christmas album. That was a Pacific Northwest and just West Coast tour. And then we went to Europe 3 times. I think once on our own, or twice on our own, and once with Strung Out. And we also did Australia once.
So opening for Strung Out, you guys probably play in some pretty decent-sized venues back then.
Absolutely. We really enjoyed Eastern Canada was at that time, and I think still it was just really a hotbed for punk rock. We had I remember playing Three Rivers, Trois-Rivers, and that was a huge show. We were playing at the biggest shows were probably 2,000 people. So I mean that was fantastic for us.
Yeah. So all this touring in all these different cities all over the world, pretty much. What is one of the cities that you wish you could go back to just specifically for the food?
Specifically for the food, I would have to say Paris, France. It's definitely definitely a place where the equivalent of what we have, and we have here in the States, we'll have like strip mall, restaurants, right? Stuff that's like local, you don't hear about, but they're kind of another way to say it would be like a hole in the wall place. Right. And I feel like in Paris, France, that their equivalent of that, although they don't have strip malls per se, the equivalent of the neighborhood bistro there. I feel like the quality of food is outstanding for what you pay. It's a great value, and and they really I feel like they just care about what they're putting out, and I noticed that. And while I was touring, I was journaling a lot, and I made a list of 5 cities that I would live in for a year if I had the opportunity, and and Paris was on that list, and certainly it was on that list because of its beauty, architecture, and of course food. So.
What about just in the United States alone? I mean, like you said, you guys have been to every state almost. So, what about just in the States?
Right. As far as food cities in the United States, Chicago. I definitely enjoyed Chicago, and then I sort of learned to during that period, I never really liked spicy food, but during that period, I started getting more interested in spicy food. So I would say the Southwest, Austin had a few great meals in Austin. So I would say definitely those two, and you can't really beat New Orleans for unhealthy fried stuff. So tasty though.
So you in the restaurant industry, so to speak.
Yes.
Tell us a little bit about that, about your ventures there.
Well, the restaurant industry, really parallels my punk rock career. First of all, as just someone that was in a band that was successful, but we weren't making $1 million. I still had to have a job when I came home. I mean, there was we'd be on the road for a month or two, but you have to take some time off, and if we were lucky, we would set it up so we'd be home for a month and then go back out. But sometimes, there were periods where we were writing for a new record, and we'd have some extended time at home. And the restaurant industry was a great way for me to supplement my income. And being a food lover and being good with people, being in the service industry was perfect for me because I could leave and then come back and wait tables for several months while we were working on a record, or just taking some time off. Living in Sonoma County, which is adjacent to Napa County, there's a lot of outstanding food to be had, a lot of great restaurants. Just the fact that where we sit geographically, there's tons of farms around here, and just a lot of great local produce, and even meats and stuff like that. So I did that for I waited tables for a while, and towards the end, I finally started to get the idea that hey, maybe I can do this myself. Towards the end of when Diesel Boy was really hitting it hard, and once our final record was out and we kind of slowed down in touring, I got together with my brother-in-law, and we decided to open a French bistro. He's in fact he met my sister in Paris, and I actually went back after Diesel Boy stopped being super active and lived in Paris for almost 2 years. And so we all migrated back to Santa Rosa, and we found that there was no place here that we wanted to go that reminded us of Paris. So he and I put a lot of time and money into creating something that was a little piece of Paris, and it was very well received. We had a raw bar with oysters on a half shell. Initially our menu was had all the names of the dishes were in French, which we realized was a little ahead of its time for our small country town, and we eventually had to change that just to not be so off-putting. We thought it kind of scared people away, but we had a great patio. Lots of traditional French dishes. So that's kind of what's up with that.
So, as I said at the beginning of the interview, you're not just the guitar player for Diesel Boy. There's a couple other projects you've been working on. You want to tell us about those?
Absolutely. So I got together with a local guy, actually a Bay Area guy. His name is Sam McBride, and he's also known as Sammy Town. And he is he's the singer, the frontman for a band called Fang, which is a psychedelic punk rock band that's is kind of known as the forefathers of grunge. Actually, Nirvana covers a Fang song. You can find it on YouTube. It's I believe it's "The Money Will Roll Right In," which is Fang's signature, or their claim to fame, their signature song, their hit, I guess is what I'm trying to say. And he wanted to do something a little more current, a little a little different, and so we started the Disciples, and we put out a record, which is on Malt Soda Records. It's called Redemption, and it's a great mix of rock and roll and punk rock. So that is really enjoyed being a part of. He and Bang are recently touring, and as soon as they get back, we are considering doing a new record. I also played in Stang for a while. I'm actually on the most recent recording, so been pretty involved with stuff with him. And most recently, I am involved in a project called Black Poison Viper. And despite the name, it is not a metal band. It is it's like an 80s, think like a 80s movies soundtrack almost, kind of like it's a lot of keyboard, and but there's definitely some rock elements, and it's a lot of fun. I have a lot of latitude to play guitar solos, whereas with Diesel Boy, for example, I have like what I call a lead break, where it goes by really fast. In Black Poison Viper, I get to noodle a little bit more, and and improv, and that's the kind of stuff that I really enjoy. So the Disciples, Fang, and Black Poison Viper are all projects that I've been involved in or I'm working on currently. So yeah.
And there was rumors that there's a Diesel Boy album kind of in the works. Is that true, or?
Well, we actually demoed and recorded it a couple years ago, and we presented it to Fat Mike, and he said, "Hey guys, I like this, but not all of it. Let's keep working on it, and and we'll eventually put something out." And since that happened, there's been some irreconcilable differences, I will say, within the band, and it looks like that is no longer on the table, at least for the time being. I think our drummer, our current drummer Jeff Arcuri has officially stepped down, and Greg as well as myself are working on other projects, and Dave also has a project called the Dirty Outs, which he is focusing on right now. So it would appear that Diesel Boy at this point is completely finished, and will probably not put out that final record, which is a little disappointing to I think to everybody. But as I said again, it's difficult to get four individuals to constantly agree on stuff. Is not always easy. I wish we could figure it out, but at this point, as I said, it's not looking good. So we're sorry about that, and I think we need to address our fans, publicly at some point about that. But I feel like Jeff posted on our Facebook page in the last couple of months that he was no longer done, and I think that was sort of the record not coming out is pretty much implied by that. But we'll see.
Well, yeah, I mean the tracks are out there, so maybe somebody will want to release it just as almost like a remember these guys. This is what they did,
That's what we want. That's what some of us wanted to do that. And there was a couple members that were not happy with the quality and didn't want to have that be a final representation of the band. And that was one of the areas that we sort of banged heads. So that is where that lies. You can hear some of the songs that were going to be on it because Dave has kind of enveloped those into the fold of the Dirty Out. So those were songs that we worked on, and would have been Diesel Boy songs, but you can still hear them in that venue. So,
real quick, what's one of your favorite things to cook when you're at home?
One of my favorite things to cook, I have a couple things in my repertoire that I can throw down, and I love making pasta carbonara. I think it's a very forgiving dish. kind of a thing that you can have, 3 eggs or 4. If you have 4, if you have 3, it's still gonna turn out good. I love bacon, egg, and cheese, and why not? It's not only for breakfast, right? So that's a go-to for me. I love pasta. I also garden, so this time of year I'm looking at my tomatoes and my basil plants, and I like to do a real simple garlic and oil tomato and basil sauce, which I usually freeze in separate containers so I can pull them out in the wintertime when tomatoes aren't as well. My garden tomatoes are no longer existent, and get a little taste of summertime in the winter. I really enjoy doing that, and of course barbecue. I mean, I'm a pretty avid barbecuer, so I've been doing that a lot this summer too. I love the steak and burgers and just sausages, basic stuff. Anything with fire is fun for me. Get that primal instinct going.
I do that same thing with like making tomato sauce and then freezing it, but I just, for the first time in my life, this past, actually 2 days ago, I canned pickles and stuff, and I'll tell you what, it's a process, but I know it's worth it, because my mom's always canned my entire life, so you might want to look at it.
Yeah, I love that kind of stuff.
Yeah. All right, so anything else that you want to tell us about that's going on, or?
No, man. I mean, that's good. I would love for the listeners to check out, our Black Poison Viper Facebook page and the Disciples as well. Look for, a new record from the Disciples, and Black Poison Viper is going to be going into the studio. I've been doing a lot of recording of just on my phone, video recording of our process. So if you're interested to see how songs evolve, I usually wait until they're pretty darn decent before I even will post them. But it's kind of it's a very raw look at at 5 guys playing in a rehearsal space, and with technology these days, and phone technology these days, it's pretty surprising how good the sound quality is, and so I would encourage everyone to check that out. And yeah, man, that's about it. I just wanted to thank you for giving me a call and giving me an opportunity to share my story of food and music. I love what you're doing, and I look forward to following you and supporting your unique view on 2 things that I love.
Well, it was an honor to be able to talk to you. Diesel Boy is one of big influential band in the early '90s for me. So thank you. And
you're welcome, man.
We will be leaving here with some Diesel Boy. This is off of Sofa King Cole. This is She's My Queen on Punk Rock Foodies Radio.
What's up? I'm Skate Rat Betty, and thanks for listening to Punk Rock Foodies Radio Best of 2016.
And that was the Real Mackenzies with 10,000 Shots, and you're listening to Punk Rock Foodies Radio. And speaking of shots, I am here with Braeden Bumpers of McClintock Distillery in Frederick, Maryland. How you doing, Braeden?
I'm doing great. Thank you for having me.
Oh, absolutely. We love our booze. So talking to somebody who makes it is definitely a good thing for us. So why don't you tell us a little bit about how you got started in this entire process of opening this distillery?
Sure. So we are about 5 years in the making into this business. Me and my business partner both come from brewing, so a lot of the process is pretty similar throughout the fermentation process. But what we really wanted to do was distillation. So it took us a while to put the business together. We both did work studies up at distilleries in Chicago and New York to kind of get distilling under our belt. And now we've been in this building for about a year, and now the construction is over and we're finally in production. We're really excited about the products that we have out there right now.
And speaking of the products, what products do you make currently?
So we have the Epiphany Vodka, which is a vodka from organic Northern Italian white wheat. We also have our Maryland Heritage White Whiskey, which is a rye-based whiskey, which is what Maryland used to be known for making in big quantities. And we also have our Forager Gin, which is a vapor-infused New American-style gin.
Yeah, speaking of that gin, the process, you were explaining earlier about how the process works, that you've got what did you call it, a gin basket?
Gin basket, yes.
Please explain to our listeners the process of making the gin, at least to get the flavor in there.
Sure. So most distilleries will do what's called bathtub gin or maceration, and what that involves is taking high-proof alcohol, like basically vodka, and chopping up a bunch of juniper and other botanicals and putting it into the high-proof alcohol and letting it sit there for about a day or two before they distill the whole thing over through the system. And what we did is we didn't like that the juniper is so oversaturated in those gins that are out there. So we have a basket that actually picks up the botanicals as a vapor at the end of our production run. So we were able to use a little bit lighter botanicals. It's got some really interesting citrus notes as well as notes on it too.
Yeah, it does. It has a nice, it's like an orange finish to it, which is, and it isn't very strong with the juniper flavor, which is nice. Unless you really like juniper, but no, it's definitely different. It was really tasty. Now, as the process goes, you basically, for the gin, the vodka, and the whiskey, it's the same process until what point?
So the biggest difference would be the proof at which we distill it through. So our vodka, we activate all 8 of our plate filters. We dial down our deflegmator, without getting too nerdy, down to a really low volume. So we can get up to about 95% alcohol off the still. And that's the premise of vodka, is to distill out any flavor or characteristic as you produce it. Whereas the whiskey, we use a slightly different mash bill for the base, and we only turn on about 2 of the plate filters, so it's coming off about 79 to 80% alcohol. And the gin is the same thing as the vodka, except for we pass it through that vapor basket.
And then to bring the alcohol level down, what do you cut it with? Just distilled water, or is there a...
We have a reverse osmosis filtration system that we gather water through and then blend it down. Reverse osmosis just cleans and purifies the water pretty much to 99.99% purity, pure H2O.
And then you've got, copper plays a huge part in the entire process. What you were saying something about the banana flavor in Kentucky Gentleman. Can you get scientific on us here and explain what that's all about?
If you want to go scientific, so there's a volatile chemical that is produced throughout the fermentation process called dimethyl trisulfide, and it's a pretty sour, bitter taste that you might taste some in cheaper plastic handle products that are out there. I won't name any names. What causes that is if there's no copper or they distill it too fast, all of that just goes straight over into the product. We opted to go with a system with a lot of copper, both in the still and the column, because dimethyl trisulfides bond to copper. So the more copper you have, the more space it has to bond to it, and it keeps more of it out of the product. So we have very little, if any, coming through to our final stuff.
And please, could you explain the heads and the hearts and the tails of the entire distilling process?
Sure. So for all of the products, it comes off at different temperatures. As we distill, we continually increase the temperature to extract all of the alcohol out. So we start out at a relatively low temperature when it comes over, and that's going to have a lot of volatile chemicals, some acetone in it. That's the first stuff to come over. It's about 7 liters or so, and that stuff is really bad. We use it for cleaning here. Great floor polish, and it cleans up the machine pretty nicely. And then the next part that we collect is the hearts, and that's going to be the product that we'll be selling. It's got really nice flavor. It's got nice ABV content, exactly what we're looking for, and it's got the correct profile of what we're looking for. And the last cut we make is the tails. That's the last stuff to come off. We generally see a more grainy, earthy taste to it and a lower ABV, and we save that and redistill that, and we will be using that as the base for our gin and vodka.
So basically the hearts would be the white whiskey, just as it is?
Pretty much. We just blend it down and filter it, and that's the product.
And what do you blend it with?
Just water.
Just the water?
Yep.
Okay. You were saying that you've got some bourbon going?
Yes. Yes. We have a big 30-gallon barrel of bourbon and 30-gallon barrel of rye that we're just starting now. It should be ready in about 2 to 3 years, unfortunately. We tried some of the shortcuts to quick cheat time, and there's really no way around it.
Well, mark your calendars, people. 2 to 3 years.
2 to 3
Get
years.
some bourbon and some rye. So what do you do with the leftover mash once it's all been cooked down? And
Sure. So we actually we have very little waste here. So we keep all of our mash. We pump it into totes, and we actually have a farmer come down and pick it up about twice a week, and he feeds it to his cows and pigs. He actually just called us last week to ask why his cows ran about 4 acres across the field when he saw the totes, and it's because we still have about 1.5% alcohol content left in the mash when we send it out to him.
That's good. That's good cow right
drunk
there.
Cows on hands.
Isn't that how they make like that Wagyu beef or whatever?
That's right.
Kobe beef,
That's
whatever.
right.
Yeah. So you just opened. What's in the mindset for the future? What's the plan?
So we're going to be looking to be in a lot of local Maryland and DC stores over the next year. For right now, all 3 of our core products are available for sale from our tasting room, and we're also going to be doing a lot of small batch experimental stuff over the next few months. One that I can tell you about that I'm very excited is going to be a barrel-aged gin, which is a pretty new product out there on the market. I personally love gin and whiskey, and it's a great blend of that. So Tyler and I, mostly out of lack of attention span, like to do a lot of experimentation and some really interesting stuff.
And Tyler is your partner,
yes,
and the
Tyler,
other distiller.
Yep.
And your background and his background are different but the same.
Yes.
Right.
Yes. So I studied environmental science and then went on to pursue the business field after I graduated. And Tyler studied business and then went on to pursue an environmental field after he graduated. But a lot of the stuff, like the biology and the chemistry behind this kind of stuff, we both have a little bit of background in, so it made it easier for us to switch over.
So as far as the distillery and the tasting room goes, I know you don't have a license to pour drinks and sell drinks to people.
That's correct.
Is that a possibility in the future? Or?
It's looking like a strong possibility. We have a text amendment with the state that will hopefully be looked at sometime in the next few months. It was proposed last session, but they just didn't have time to vote on it. But it seems to have not very much pushback so far. It's just a common sense thing that just needs to be put through.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I think it's great, bringing money to the area, and, who can complain, other than some moms that don't want their kids drinking, which is understandable. But, hey, thanks a lot for talking with us. It's McClintock Distill. Where did you get the name for McClintock Distilling, since your last name is Bumper's, not McClintock?
Yes, so McClintock, neither of our names are McClintock. We are named after McClintock Young, who was a Frederick resident in the early 1800s. He was an inventor. He invented some pieces on the Velocipede, which is that bike with the huge front wheel on it, as well as he has 150 patents. And Tyler's family inherited some land up by Gambrel Mountain, and we went out there and found a shack out there, popped open the door, and we found about 60 original patents signed by McClintock Young. We had never heard of him before, but that was right about the time when we were brainstorming the distillery, so it kind of all fit together nicely, and we thought we'd bring his spirit of innovation to downtown Frederick the way that we think would make him proud.
Excellent. Well, it's a beautiful place, a lot of space, so I can definitely see some things happening here. And the booze is delicious. So if you're ever in Frederick, Maryland, and is the tasting room going to be open on a regular basis? Or?
Yeah, Thursday and Fridays from 4 to 8, and Saturdays and Sundays from noon to 8.
And stop on in. It's right along Carroll Creek, right? I mean, it's a happening area. Mm-hmm. So you've got to come on, stop on by. Good booze. Pick up a bottle. I got a bottle of white whiskey in my bag right now. So thanks a lot, Braeden, for talking with us.
All right, thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
And we will leave you with a little bit more Real McKenzie. This is Scotch Whiskey on Punk Rock Foodies Radio. All right, awesome.
I love that segue. That's a great song to say, right?
What up? This is Steve Guerrero from Punk Rock Foodies. You're listening to the best of 2016 episode in your ear hole.
And that was I Want to Play in the Dirt by Dan Vapid off of All Wound Up. And on the phone with us now is, I guess we could say, friend of the show, Dan Vapid. Dan, how you doing?
Good. How's it going, man?
Good. So how does it feel to be the first person we've ever interviewed twice?
Well, I guess that's a good thing. I appreciate you doing that. So, yeah, thank you.
Yeah. Hey, no, thank you. So the new album, All Wound Up, it's great.
Thank you.
For those who don't know, I mean, the last two songs we played are off of it, but it's a kids album. It's a punk rock kids album. So,
right.
How many of these songs were based on your real life experiences with your son?
I would say all of them. Pretty much all of them are either about little experiences that we had with each other, or kind of songs that are kind of written through his eyes, or songs that I kind of picture having a conversation about him with, the song. There's two at the end of the album. One's called Green Means Go, and the other one's called When Seasons Change. They're more about just lessons in life, about growing up. So I picture having some of those conversations with him, maybe when he's about 8, 9, 10, something like that. So I was jumping ahead a little bit, thinking about that, but as I was writing the record, it kind of, originally it kind of went from the perspective of being 4 and 5, and then towards the end I was thinking more along the line of maybe 9 and 10. So, but yeah, to answer your question, they're all about him, through his eyes and little experiences that he had, all influenced from, children's books that we've read, and even movies that we've watched together, and just little moments that we've had together. They're all just kind of in those songs, pretty much from start to end.
So what is, how old is your son?
My son's 5.
5. And so what is his thoughts on this album?
Well, when I first started writing some of the songs, I think he thought they were kind of neat. But, as a kid, I think a lot of it doesn't really sink in so much. He had a birthday party recently, he turned 5 back in May, and I had a friend of mine videotape his birthday, and he put a song off his new record and kind of made a video out of it for him to watch. And it kind of was sinking in. I could see it that okay, these are kind of stuff that we've been doing. And since then, he's kind of more receptive to some of the other songs on the record. His favorite is Ding Ding Ding, The Gate Goes Down, because he's just really, really, really into trains. Yeah. He just absolutely loves trains. So, and that one in particular is just about where we live. There's trains go through town quite often. So when the gate goes down, it's like he really gets excited, and we talk about the different trains, and a flat car versus a tanker versus a gondola, and, because he knows all that stuff because we've read so many books about trains. So so that had kind of made its way onto the record just because it's his love for it. That's just like I said, that's a song that he's it's probably a favorite of his at the moment. I'm not sure about some of the other ones. I mean, he knows them, and he's responded to some of them, and some of them he hasn't. I mean, maybe he'll like them someday, maybe he won't. I don't know, but you just kind of you do your best. The one, as I'm talking about it right now, the one song that's on there that's not based on anything is called Robot with a Human Heart. All that was me. I had this picture in my head of Max finding a robot underneath the deck of our house and making friends with it. And that's all that song was about. So that was completely made up. So and that's also based on just other little children's books that I've read him. But instead of, whether it's, E.T. or whether it's, a lost train, say in those Thomas books, in this case, it's a robot. And, he makes friends with the robot, and, by the time that the robot has to leave, he's very sad, So, I really had fun kind of making up songs like that and kind of writing from a different perspective. I really found that a lot of fun and really refreshing, and ever since that I've made that record, I've come up with so many more of them that I've actually talked to Mike Park today about doing a volume 2.
I was going to ask
because I just had I mean, I've had so many, they're just kind of coming out for whatever reason, and I think a lot of it is from being a parent. And, it's funny because you think of writing kid songs, they're like, well, they're kid songs. It's like, they feel a little more heartfelt to me than some of the other stuff I've had. I think probably because as a parent, there's a love for your children. Right. And, and just being a songwriter and being a parent, it's kind of natural for the two to just kind of come together.
Right.
So I'm really happy that Mike Park had asked if I wanted to do something like this, because I never thought in
in my wildest dreams I would ever want to do something like that. Before he asked me, it never occurred to me at all that I would ever do something like that. So, a little surprised by the process, but it was a very pleasant surprise that just songs were just coming out very naturally, and they continue to. So, very, very possibly we'll be doing a volume 2 to all this, because the songs that are kind of coming out on it right now.
So who all plays on the album?
With the album, it's just me and Luke McNeil. Luke McNeil is in copyrights. I sang, I played guitar, I played bass, I did backing vocals, I did some keyboard and piano stuff. And he did drums. He sang lead vocal on I Want to Play in the Dirt. Well, we trade off, actually. He does the verse, I do the chorus. And he recorded it, and he co-produced it, and he mixed and mastered it. So, I thought Luke did a really amazing job with this record as well. But yeah, it was just the two of us. I was just going down to Springfield and, maybe spending Saturday night, part of Sunday, and then driving back to where I live now, which is it's about an hour and a half from where he lives. So just periodically throughout last year and this year, we were just kind of chipping away at it when we could. Yeah. And we finally got it done.
So there seems to be, I guess it's not really a trend, but there's this group of punk rockers, this generation of people like yourself that Jim Lindbergh of Pennywise wrote the book Punk Rock Dad, and there seems to be this group of people that are starting to become parents and are kind of leading that way. There's Greg from Bouncing Souls has a little side project called Playdate. Now, I know it's not
right.
like a punk version like your album is, but do you see this becoming more of a trend, or?
I don't know. I kind of know what you mean. I'm seeing more people that are receptive to it. I've seen even some people that want to make one. I have, say, two friends on Facebook I can think of at the top of my head that want to make a children's record. They just haven't yet. And then they've asked me about it. And I said, well, what had happened to me is Mike Park just asked me if I wanted to make one. I had never even considered making one. I knew that Kevin Dooley had made one.
Yeah.
But I had heard one or two songs, thought they were really good. I like his album a lot, by the way. But I didn't really know much about that. The children kind of music scene, so to speak. And so I kind of discovered it by doing it. But yeah, I mean, to answer your question, I guess, yeah, maybe a little bit. I've noticed some people being interested in it. It's a hit or miss thing, because I think in a lot of ways, I get the feeling that some people that would normally listen to my band, may not tune into it because it is a children's record. But I think that's kind of a mistake, because my intention of writing the record is to kind of do a record that would speak to the kid and the parents, the punk rock parents, and there's a lot of them, and to people who may like my other records. But I think when you market it as children's music, it seems like, I don't know, it's, I think there are people that are, they're not sure what to make of it.
Yeah, well, it's, it's not, my youngest is about to turn 9, and I remember, listening to, crap like the Wiggles and Debbie Derryberry, and they still know the songs. They were singing the songs this summer, but that's not what this album is. This is a punk rock album with
children themes, I guess, behind the songs.
Yeah, this is the kind of record that I wanted to hear when I was 5 years old. Because when I was 5 years old, my favorite band was Kiss. You know, I mean, damn my parents, you know, the sexual innuendos went over my head. Lyrical content went over my head. But I thought it was cool that they had, like, you know, that
makeup
one guy was
and the
breathing fire
Yeah, yeah.
makeup, and they were like, they had this sound that was bigger than life, and they had these loud guitars, and they had these really catchy songs. And I thought that was cool, you know?
Yeah.
I thought things that were loud and, you know, and kind of exciting was cool, you know? Like if I had heard quote-unquote kids music, I'm not sure I would have really liked it. I think the kind of kids music, I kind of want to say the kids music I had growing up may have been like the Banana Split, it's stuff from the Brady Bunch.
Like Sesame Street.
Yeah, a little bit of Sesame Street. The Monkees had a show.
Yeah.
You know, the Partridge Family had a show. I mean, when I was growing up, every show had like some kind of band in it. You know, and I liked a lot of those songs, but I wanted to hear something a little more
like,
you know, I was more into like something louder and more abrasive, that even at a very young age. And I think, like, you know, making things so soft and, like, I don't know, I would have called bullshit on that when I was 5. That's all I can say.
Yeah, no, I know what you mean.
I think, like, there's the messages that I have I think are important. I'm not sure how I would have felt about that when I was 5. I think I maybe have liked some of them, maybe some of them I wouldn't have. I don't know, but to just kind of tell you how I would wanted it when I was a kid, and that's kind of more how I would have wanted to hear a kid's record.
Yeah.
You know, so that's why I did it that way. I also did it for the fans that have, you know my stuff already. You know, so that's that. You know.
So you said when we talked before, you said that you're gonna try to weave some of these songs into your regular set.
Right.
When you tour and do shows.
Right. Right.
And you're involved in a upcoming show, Jughead's birthday party. Are you gonna be there?
Well, that's the Mopes are playing.
The Mopes, yeah.
The Mopes are playing that. Yeah. I mean, I would probably. Well, speaking of Jughead's birthday party, he's having something at his house that's just like sold out already. Which is, he wanted it to be real intimate and stuff. But then the following night there's going to be a show at Reggie's.
Okay.
With a lot of the same bands. And I had talked to the promoter in town, Brian Peterson, about just doing an acoustic set on the other side of Reggie's, because at that venue they also have a bar side which has a small kind of stage. And so I was kind of toying with the idea of doing an acoustic set afterwards, because they usually book some band and it drives everybody nuts. It's usually just something, I don't know, that nobody really would care for, that would come to the other show. But like, I was thinking like maybe I would do that as a method to keep people around, and, you know, maybe just kind of have a chill, like kind of after, you know, show kind of like little thing. You know, and I'd probably play some of those songs then, just acoustically.
Yeah.
But other than that, I mean, we're not scheduled to play that. It's the Mopes that will be playing.
Now, is this Jughead's 50th birthday, or is this?
Yeah.
Okay, I was going to say, it's something big, yeah.
He
doesn't do this every year, does he?
He doesn't turn 50 every year.
No. So, back to Jughead's party. Like, is there anything planned food-wise that you're aware of that seems interesting?
Well, no, there isn't anything planned. But I think, you know, for me, what I'm going to do is I'm going to get my favorite pizza that's a part of that neighborhood. Like, I think it's like probably the best thin crust that Chicago has. They've been kind of
kind of known for their thin crust. There's a place called Marie's, which is not too far from where John lives. And they're kind of famous for their cracker crust pizza. And then the next day, I'm going right over the famous deep dish from Pequod's. That is my plan. I think because I have some plans. You know, they're the kind of thing where it's like the show. Like, I think about the show, and then, like, okay, the show's done, and then immediately I think about, you know, well, the planning for the show, rather. And as soon as that's done, like, my mind automatically thinks about where I want to get.
Yeah.
All right, I'm hitting here, and I'm hitting here. So I'm hitting my 2 spots for pizza in Chicago, because I don't get to have it that much anymore, because they don't live in Chicago anymore. But yeah, I mean, I'll be doing a beeline for both of them.
So what are
looking forward to that?
What are some of the foods that you're looking forward to come fall? You know, with obviously the ingredients change. You know, there's Oktoberfests and all that stuff. Like, what is there anything you're looking forward to?
You know, fall is the kind of it's a time I really kind of get back into, like, maybe just more of that comfort kind of. I'm not really a big squash guy. I like it, okay, but you know, fall's known for squash and pumpkin and stuff like that. Pumpkin is okay as well, but you know, it's the time of year where I just, you know, it's back to getting the chili on the stove, back to like getting some soups on the stove. You know, it's not quite cold yet, but it's that time because the weather starts to change a little bit, starts to get a little cooler, and you can feel it in your body. Like, okay, you know, like time for, like, you know, potato leek soup or something. You know, something like the kind of, yeah, you start wanting it because you've been eating light all summer because it's hot. You know, so. Start craving, you know, some of the chilies and soups and stuff like that. It's just kind of what I start craving this time of year.
Yeah, it's hard to say, let's make chili in the middle of July. You know, it's just...
Yeah.
No, it just doesn't seem
like
right.
October comes around.
Yeah.
You know, I'm all about it, you know?
Yeah.
So that's kind of what I start craving in the fall, stuff like that.
Yeah, and you know, I mean, you do have a lot of stuff that gets harvested, like you said, the squashes and stuff. But you also get the potatoes, and you get, like, I mean, apples. You smell apple cider, it just makes you think of fall.
Well, yeah, okay, that's a very good. Yeah, exactly. We have an apple orchard not too far from where I live, and you know, we go there about once every other week or so, which is really great. You know, so we'll do that. And yeah, cider, stuff like that. I love that stuff. It's great. You know. So yeah, we'll do that. I mean, another thing that's kind of in season this time is arugula. Is another one of those, which I absolutely love arugula. So if I could ever get my hands on that, I could get my hands on that as well. You know, so out with the light stuff, just more heavy stuff can kind of start coming now. You know, pretty soon.
Yeah, there's something about, like, you know, winter comes around. You know, it starts getting a little cooler out. And you don't want to be outside, and then you fire up the oven, like bake a bunch of bread or something like that.
Oh yeah,
the house,
yeah.
And
Yep. Yeah, absolutely.
Sounding good. So, what has been the reaction to this new album? You know, from the punk rock community, from like some of your peers.
Well, like I was saying to you earlier, I've had a lot of people email me and tell me that they really like it. The people that really like it a lot. And then I've had some people that normally contact me that hadn't. I'm just, you know, I noticed most of the ones that had kids contact me, the ones that didn't. You know, I don't know what that's about or if it's anything, but I noticed that as a kind of a little bit of a pattern with that.
Yeah.
not really sure. I mean, like I said, I've had really strong comments from a lot of people that have been great, that contacted me. Other than that, I'm not the kind of person that really goes online very much and looks at reviews. I just don't.
Yeah.
So every once in a while, if I had like a lot to drink or something, I'll like look at like stuff on YouTube and like see someone like playing one of my songs on their guitar, and I'm just out of curiosity to start watching it, But like for the most part, just don't really look at it too much.
Yeah. Well,
I'm the kind of person that just I'm about I'm all for doing interviews, obviously, and promoting and doing the press part of it, but I don't know. I'm usually kind of, when something is done, I'm usually kind of on to the next thing, so.
Right. Yeah, and it can definitely, depending on the type of person you are, if you take people's comments, negative comments to heart, sometimes people just want to be dicks, and they don't really mean what they say, so it's... You can't.
Yeah,
can't
well, there's always going to be that. Yeah, you're always going to have that no matter what,
Yeah.
But I mean, it just, even sometimes people saying things that are just, very complimentary can be like just overboard as well.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think it's just best to kind of just stay off of it and just kind of do your thing and just kind of keep going and doing what you do.
Right.
And so that's just kind of what I try to do anyway.
Yeah. Well, we love the album. Like I said, all of us have children, and I think that comment about the fact that the people that don't have kids haven't really said anything. When I listen to it for like with two different kind of ears. Like the fact that my children are a lot older, and they'll probably dig it just because of the music. But then also from if my kids were younger, this would have been great to have in the car to listen to, as opposed to the shit we had to listen to.
Yeah.
That's what we had, so I could see somebody who doesn't have kids would probably be like, yeah, it's a good album, but, not being able to put it into perspective of what a good thing it actually is to have to listen to because of the crap that's out there for kids that you have to kind of endure for your child.
Yeah, I've had some people tell me that they like it more than their kids, and I think that doesn't surprise me either. I think, it's strange to just kind of know what's going to stick with somebody. You know what I mean? Like, I think if you're a punk rock parent, it doesn't necessarily mean that your kids are going to like the same stuff.
Right.
They're their own people that are going to like whatever that they like.
More than likely, they're going to like something that's not punk rock because most part we like punk rock because it wasn't what our parents liked. So they're going to rebel. And
yeah.
Yeah,
there is that aspect of it as well. It's hard to say, but but whatever. I think it's good. There's people that enjoy it. All I know is I really had a lot of fun making it. I really enjoyed the process, and the end result. I was pretty happy with the end result, and so to me that was a win in and of itself. So I kind of hope to kind of carry that on to like another one.
Absolutely, I agree. I think we all look forward to a volume 2. I think just the fact that you were asked to do a volume 2, speaks that volume 1 was a success. So, kudos. I don't usually say that word because it's kind of douchey, but kudos.
Yeah.
But so we're gonna head off with another song off of All Wound Up. This one has to do with food. And this is I Don't Want to Eat My Vegetables on Punk Rock Foodies Radio. Thanks, Dan.
I'd like to thank Steve Bryan, Skate Rat. I'd like to thank Nick Woods, Elvis Cortez, Jeffrey Eng, Rhino, Zach Quinn, Skate Rat Betty, Justin Worth, Braeden Bumpers, and Dan Vapid. Check out all their music and posts and whiskeys and food and what have you. When you are in the mood for some video and graphic needs, check out Burning Rose Studios. Also, check out Betty Gear on Facebook. And while on Facebook, come on over to Punk Rock Foodies. Almost 5,000 members, growing every day. Real simple, make food, post, pick. Can't make it easier than that. All right, Happy New Year, everybody. Bone-Ape-Tit.
I can't believe I'm still doing this, Xander.